13 ultimate restaurants you must visit before you die. See for yourself with our special 3-for-2 package. For a limited time, stay 2 nights and get a third night free. Call 800-684-8439, 800-684-8439, or visit oceancrestresort.com. Ocean Crest Resort, making memories since 1953. In Moclips, overlooking the Pacific Ocean.
iFIBER ONE Newsradio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
Oh, 6:24 here at iFIBER ONE. Good morning to you. I'm Jeff Slakey along with Carol Gardner. Texted Carol at 4 o'clock, so I got my silent alert at 2:30. And I'll be honest with you, I slept right through it.
I'm surprised you didn't text me earlier. I was up, not at 2, but up.
Well, no, my alarm goes off at 3:55. So I go in, it says we're off the air. And we have a system here where I can, log me in as a website that allows remote access, highly secured remote access to computers if you're not there. So I saw the silent alert, and I go to the log me in, and I see that all 5 of our computers are offline. So I know there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But I am going to Ephrata today. I got my first big business trip, so I got to at least take a shower. So after the shower, that's what, thank you. So now I smell like gas. But so I texted Carol at 4. Mm-hmm. And it was, how was your drive in? It was windy. There was a storm brewing last night.
There was a lot of tree debris all over the place. Yeah, I'm like, what did I just run over?
Hopefully it was just a branch.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. Good news for the State Route 104. Drivers Hood Canal Bridge has reopened to vehicles. High winds. Of course, we have scheduled on today Mike Callahan from the Pioneer Kiwanis for the crab, clam, and spaghetti dinner that's coming up this weekend. Mm-hmm. I feel like we're still going to get him in because the power is back on. We're still going. Sean Wells, sports director at 8:15, talk about the Pride Night last night and the soccer team. They put together this nice piece on the soccer club. And then we'll focus on Shelton today. I had a great time at Empty Bowls last night. Was able to get paint done, see a lot of folks, and finish that process. So next Wednesday is the final Empty Bowls night where you can donate to Saints Pantry and try some of the great food from the local souperies and bakeries around town. Additionally, we are looking at stories from the Associated Press, and we're still trying to get everything figured out here. So, and today's supposedly the last day of this legislative session. Washington House has passed and sent back to the Senate a measure that would change the funding source of the state's charter schools. Some lawmakers and advocates of the independent public schools says the measure would ensure the future of the charter system. They've been in limbo since September when the state Supreme Court ruled charter school system is unconstitutional. That was something that we talked with 35th District Representative Drew McEwen with yesterday. You can find that replay interview on the Daybreak page or the Politic page of iFiber1newsradio.com. 6:28 right now, and Mary Lynn Foster has the latest in local news here coming up in just a few moments. Additionally, in the news, moving up north to Bellingham, the union that represents Hagen employees says government regulators have approved a potential deal for Albertsons to buy the one remaining core Hagen grocery stores in Washington and Oregon. Bellingham Herald reports Hagen didn't have a comment on the union statement, but they are looking to unload all of them, even that first one that did start in Bellingham. Hagen did start up there. 30-year-old man has been arrested after police say he climbed onto the roof of the Union Gospel Mission in Pasco and threatened to kill employees there. Tri-City Herald reports that John Morgan Lutz was arrested on felony threats. We're starting to see some video surveillance of the natural gas blast from yesterday, Carol, and the restaurant had some video surveillance, and it shows the force of this blast that tore through a Seattle neighborhood. It sent 9 firefighters into the hospital and reduced businesses to rubble. The footage is from the Olive and Grape restaurant. It shows a bright flash, the room shakes, debris starts to fall from the ceiling. large garage door covering the front window fortunately was there and protected itself from even more extensive damage. Some of those pictures that I'm seeing out of Seattle are amazing.
They were crazy.
6:29 here at iFIBER One News Radio. Mary Lynn Foster has the latest in local news. Next, we will then have an we'll then have sports report for you. Carol will check the weather, and we'll come back and find out what else is happening here around these parts at 6:30 on Daybreak.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
From the iFIBER One News Radio studios, I'm Mary Lynn Foster. A reminder that BPA has scheduled an outage for system maintenance tonight at 11:59 p.m. until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. The outage will affect the following PUD1 areas: Schoolhouse Hill Road in Hoodsport, onward north to just above Colony Surf, Highway 119, Lake Cushman Road, downtown Union area to the end of PUD1 service line on Highway 106, and Alderbrook and McReevy Road areas. While BPA is having their outage, PUD1's crews will work on system maintenance as well as what needs to be completed while power is down. PUD1 says that coordinating with BPA prevents the need for additional outages for these maintenance items. The Mason County Sheriff's Office has found a 14-year-old girl who disappeared on Tuesday from her home east of Shelton. The Sheriff's Office tells us Mackenzie Cunningham was found and is safe. No other information was available. The Sheriff's Office thanks those who assisted in locating Mackenzie. Governor Inslee has said he would block legislation approved by the legislature if an agreement on a 2016 supplemental budget isn't reached soon. 35th District Representative Drew McEwen called into Daybreak to comment on that threat.
Well, frankly, I mean, the governor has shown a complete lack of leadership this session. I haven't even seen him, which is unusual during session. He has been largely absent. His style in the handful of negotiation meetings that he's been to, which is oftentimes with just our leadership from the various caucuses, and so I haven't been in those. But he's been very abrupt, and it's ironic. I think the governor forgot when he made that statement which Washington he's in. Under our state constitution, the governor does not have a pocket veto, and so the way it works in our state, if the governor doesn't sign the bill, it becomes law. He has to take proactive action in order to veto a law, and he thought it was the other way around.
The legislative session will end at midnight tonight. The governor's office says a special session will be called to convene tomorrow if tonight's deadline isn't met. Taylor Shellfish Farms is the first U.S. grower to achieve responsible aquaculture certification for a farming operation in Washington state. Taylor received Aquaculture Stewardship Council bivalve certification for its operation in the South Puget Sound Basin, which includes the Hood Canal and the area south of the Tacoma Narrows, Olympia, and Shelton. Bill Taylor, Taylor Shellfish Chief Executive Officer, said the company is dedicated to providing customers with the freshest, highest quality shellfish available and doing so in ways that respect the environment, their communities, and the people who work for them. For iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Mary Lynn Foster.
I'm attorney Harold Carr. During the past 25 years, more than 8,000 people have trusted me to handle their personal injury cases. I understand how an injury can disrupt your life and cause financial hardship for you and your family. At the law firm of Harold Carr, we have 5 attorneys and 19 staff members experienced with negotiating and litigating with insurance companies. So if you feel the insurance company is not dealing with you fairly, call me, Harold Carr. Let us deal with the insurance company so you won't have to.
Car accident? Call Carr or visit us online at haroldcarrattorney.com.
Happy New Year for the NFL, that is. I'm Dave Packer reporting on sports. The NFL's new league year begins at 4 p.m. Eastern today, and with that new year, many free agents will be able to make their new contracts official. But one move that will also become official this afternoon, the retirement of Lions wide receiver Calvin Johnson, who filed his paperwork with the league on Tuesday. While Johnson's talent was without question, ESPN's Michael Rothstein points out the one thing Johnson's resume lacks.
Personally, he did everything he possibly could on an individual level. Team-wise, however, he never quite got that satisfaction that he wanted. He always said he wanted to win with the Lions, and it just never happened.
More tickets being punched to the NCAA tournament on Tuesday. Green Bay ends a 20-year tourney drought after winning the Horizon League title. Gonzaga, Fairleigh Dickinson, and South Dakota State will also be dancing later this month. The San Antonio Spurs haven't lost consecutive games all season, but that mark was in jeopardy Tuesday night against Minnesota.
Aldridge in the paint. LaMarcus runner with the left hand off the back of the rim and good for LaMarcus Aldridge. He's got 23, and the Spurs have the biggest lead.
On WOAI, as the Spurs overwhelmed the Timberwolves 116-91. LaMarcus Aldridge finished with 29 points in just 29 minutes. Elsewhere, Damian Lillard came up big for the Blazers in overtime.
Lillard now dribbles left, comes back right, across the foul line, puts the shot up, banks it in! Time on Washington!
On KPOJ, as Portland got past Washington 116-109. On the ice, the Bruins had their eye on first place in the Atlantic Division.
Bergeron right away, feeds it out in front, score! Brad Marchand tips it in, 10 seconds into overtime to give the Bruins a tie for first place.
On 98.5, the Sports Hub, as the 1-0 win in overtime over Tampa Bay moves Boston into a tie for first with the Lightning. Both teams have 83 points. Dave Packer, ABC Sports.
Previously on the Under the Hood show.
This would be Glenn.
Hey, Glenn, go ahead.
I've got an 87 Honda that I just picked up for a song, like $100, and it runs beautifully at 305,000 miles.
Quite impressive.
But when you start it, you have to start it 3 times to get the automatic choke to kick in properly.
So what, Glenn? It was $100.
Go Under the Hood, Saturdays at noon on iFIBER ONE Newsradio, AM 1030 and FM 1033.
Now, from the all-new Gillis Auto Center Sports Desk, here's Jeff Slakey.
Would you just wake up or something, Slakey?
Just woke up. Thank goodness for most people, we just do this as a radio show.
That's right. Yeah. We got one person watching this.
Good morning to you.
It's your wife going, oh my gosh.
You let him out of the house like that. 6:36 and a good morning to you. It is Daybreak here at iFIBER ONE Newsradio. Had some morning power outages here in the city of Shelton, but things are back up and running. So it's 6:36. So if your radio is just turned on and you're looking over and it's flashing 12 and you're not quite sure what's happening, you know, you wake up in a fog because an event has happened, and so your brain is needing you to work faster than you're ready for it to work. So that fog that you're in right now going, oh my gosh, I gotta hustle and flow. It's 6:36 here now at iFIBER ONE Newsradio. Good morning to you. I'm Jeff Slakey. We are looking at sports notes. George King scored 17 of his 21 points in the first half, helping Colorado run away from Washington State 80-56 in the opening round of the Pac-12 tournament. So not good news for the Cougs, but if we move over to the Huskies, DeJounte Murray scored 25, and Washington routed Stanford 91-68 yesterday in their opening game of the Pac-12 tournament. Seahawks have tendered contracts to 8 restricted and exclusive rights free agents, but did not tender offers to Christian Michael, Alvin Bailey, and Derek Coleman. Seattle now announced its tenders yesterday, included defensive backs Deshaun Shedd, Marcus Burley, Stephen Terrell, Mohamed Cisse, Eric Pincus, and Cooper Helfet. The Oakland Raiders have filled another hole in free agency by agreeing to a 4-year contract with former Seattle pass rusher Bruce Irving. Person with knowledge of the deal says Irving will sign the contract worth a reported $39 million. The person spoke on condition of anonymity because the contract had not been signed. On iFIBER1newsradio.com this morning, under the sports tab, check out sports director Sean Wells's story about Shelton High School's soccer club. Spring sports and Spring Pride Night was last night. Community gathered and celebrated And soccer, just one of the many spring sports that we will focus on here on iFIBER One News Radio. 6:38, 6:39 right now, and checking the South Sounds forecast. Here's Carol Gardner.
Good morning. It's almost 50 out, so it's quite warm. The rain should be tapering down today, but there will be rain throughout the day. Partly cloudy, partly sunny. There was the power outage this morning. I'm looking at some previous pictures earlier with some wind, some crazy wind happening.
Whoa.
So right now it should be calming down, and we'll just sort of be overcast with some showers throughout the day. Right now it's 50.
Now, from the iFIBER One News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor. Your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
6:39 at iFIBER One News Radio, and a good morning to you. I'm Jeff Psyche. We're also monitoring any potential closures when it comes to schools. The Bainbridge Island School District, which impacts some folks in Mason County, is closed today. That's Bainbridge Island School District. Everything else you can find on iFIBER1newsradio.com under the weather tab. All right, good morning to you. It is Daybreak with Jeff and Carol. Good morning to you, Carol.
Good morning, Jeff.
So we're trying to get everything going on. And again, thanks to the fire crew that came over and was helping us figure out what was going on. Our generator had some old gas in it. So, of course, so here's the deal. You got to siphon the gas out. And they were able to do that for us. And as soon as the gas was siphoned, right? Just before we were getting ready to put in fresh gas, after we've been sitting there for an hour trying to figure out what's going on, what do you think happens?
Well, I know what happens.
I know you know what happens because you were there, but you can imagine that, of course, you know, the sound of power coming back on. That's what I feel the sound of power sounds like. So the power in Shelton comes back on just right as soon as we're ready to. But that's always the way, right?
Right. But I think it was something different that happened.
What happened?
Well, I tweeted to PUD3, what's the update? Is there any updates? And then immediately after that, boom, the power came on. I'm like, well, that's an awesome update.
Great update.
I love that update. Thank you, PUD3.
That is funny. You did do that.
Yes, I did.
You got a response.
Yes.
So they're on it too.
Yeah, they were.
Good for them. And thanks to them for being out. There was a tree that fell on one of the lines between the substation here in downtown Shelton and the Mountain View substation. So they had to find out where that is, turn down the power, move the tree, turn back on the power. So pretty amazing stuff.
Right.
Their National Weather Service has a map of some stuff too.
I just saw the tweeting because I love to follow the Twitter feed. Northwest, the weather, they are showing a map of max storm gusts of 50 mile per hour or higher. So I will retweet that so you can check that out.
There's a lot of gusts that are over 50.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, it is 6:42 here at iFIBER One News Radio, and a good morning to you. It is Daybreak on a Thursday morning. We will focus on Shelton today. We will also talk about the crab, clam, and spaghetti dinner that is coming up shortly, this real soon.
Spaghetti sounds good.
Cheerios.
That doesn't sound good.
No?
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Washington Health Plan Finder offers many health plan options to meet a diversity of needs. And as your needs change with marriage, family, or other life-changing events, you can change your health plan too. In an effort to make sure everyone is well covered, Mason General Hospital provides a service to help register people with the plan that suits their needs. Simply go online to masongeneral.com and click on Washington Health Plan Finder to browse the various plans available. Then call Mason General's project supervisor, Susanna Lopez, at 432-7766.
Mason General Hospital and Family of Clinics. Equal opportunity provider. Translation services provided.
Mason General and Family of Clinics. Daybreaks.
There's no place like home.
Getting home safely is just a click away. Find the right seat for your little one's age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat for more information. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We love hearing from our listeners and sharing their stories with you. Hi, I'm Jody Henke. Today we're featuring a young Rhode Island girl who launched her own soap-making business as she's living the country life.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic and from previous shows by visiting us online at livingthecountrylife.com. We'll return to the show after these messages.
He's done 3 tours and now he's saving his dad's farm. Do you know a farmer veteran like that? We're inviting you to share their story. Successful Farming Magazine and Grasshopper Mowers are teaming up to acknowledge and thank farmer veterans for their service. This new initiative is called From Fighter to Farmer. Enter any veteran farmers you know in our contest at agriculture.com/fighter to farmer. Explain the veteran's military experience and farming operation, along with the involvement they have in your community. 3 veterans will receive a combination prize package of $5,000 and a vacation to Nashville. One lucky winner will also receive a $10,000 gift certificate to spend at Grasshopper Mowers. No purchase necessary. Open to legal residents of the 48 contiguous United States and D.C. 13 years and older. Begins February 1st, 2016 and ends April 30th, 2016. Subject to official rules at agriculture.com/fighter to farmer rules. Void in Alaska, Hawaii, and where prohibited. Sponsor, Meredith Corporation. From Fighter to Farmer is brought to you by Grasshopper Mowers. Enter any veteran farmer you know in our contest at agriculture.com/fighter to farmer.
Rachel Travis of North Scituate, Rhode Island is only 13 years old, but she can tell you everything you want to know about making soap from goat milk. She got her very first dairy goat when she was 7 years old, and 2 years later, she had 10. Rachel says as the herd grew, she had a dilemma to solve.
They all went into milk because they all had their babies. We had so much milk, and I didn't know what to do with all of it, so I started looking up what you can do with goat milk, and I found goat milk soap, and me and my sister tried it out. My sister didn't like making it, but I loved making it, so I kept on making it, and then I started selling it at farmers markets.
Rachel says in the very beginning, she went through a lot of trial and error trying to find just the right soap recipe on the internet. She tinkered with several of them to come up with her own concoction. Rachel saw this was a way she could do her part to help on the farm. She has developed 15 different soap scents and has taken ownership of her business from milking the goats to wrapping the soap bars to selling them at the farmers markets and online. Rachel enjoys the soap making process and the benefits from the end results.
It's like a science experiment, and each soap comes out different. I like it especially because I get to raise my farm off of the money I make from the soap.
They now have 15 dairy goats, and Rachel's mom and siblings make lotions, lip balm, and candles. Rachel gets a paycheck from her soap sales at the farmers markets. Besides investing in the family farm, she's also saving the money for college. Her plan is to study business management. We'd like to hear what makes your place special. Tell us about it at livingthecountrylife.com. I'll see you in the country.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic, share your tips, and post photos by visiting us online.
iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
.648 at iFIBER ONE News Radio, and a good morning to you. The power has been restored to the downtown Shelton area after about 2.5 hours of outages. Tree on power line from the Mountain View substation to the Shelton substation. So the PUD3 crews were working hard to get that back up and running. They sure did. And we are back with power in the downtown area. I'm Jeff Slakey along with Carol Gardner, and good morning to you. Good morning to you. Oh, wait, hold on. I didn't have your microphone turned up.
Oh, that's how you do it.
That's how I do it.
Why is Jeff always talking?
Good morning, Carol. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Doing great.
Got the news at the top of the hour. CNBC Business Radio report is coming our way. We have a GOP debate tonight. Our coverage starts at 3. We've again teamed with the Salem Radio Network and CNN to bring you this debate. Last night, the Democrats were in Miami talking about the issues, and they will do it again tonight with the GOP on the verge of some major primaries and caucuses, including Florida, where they'll be. Ohio, another big state that is going to be allocating its delegates on this upcoming Tuesday. And both states are the home states of 2 of the 4 candidates that are still running for office. It is 6:48 here on iFIBER ONE News Radio. Anything new that you can pass along on the Twitter sphere? We have had rain and wind.
Rain, wind, and everybody is sort of trying to just sort of mop it up right now. I mean, there's still some wind going up north of us and in the Grace Harbor County. So I guess just check the WSDOT site before you head out, or follow the Twitter feed, see if any roads are closed. Did we get any new information? Is the tree cleared up at State Run 19?
119 still has a 1-lane traffic reduction near Lake Cushman Golf Course. That's at milepost 3. Traffic is reduced to 1 lane at milepost 3. That last update was about a half an hour ago for that one.
And rainfall, this is just Seattle area, but I'm guessing it'll be more than that. It's already almost 3 inches, 2.77.
For this month?
For this month. Monthly normal is only 3.72, so we're just like almost there. Whoa. So we'll probably be above normal the entire month by Monday, because we are getting some more rain and stuff for the weekend forecasted as of now. Today, though, it should be a little more mellow.
6:51 here at iFIBER ONE News Radio, and a good morning to you. We've got CNBC Business Radio report coming up. What else is happening here in the Associated Press, Carol, and the news minutes?
It looks like the House passed and sent back to the Senate a measure that would change funding source of the state's charter schools. We had talked to Drew McCune yesterday a little bit about that, so it did go back. Lawmakers and advocates of the independent schools say the measure would ensure the future of the charter system. The schools have been in limbo since September, when the state Supreme Court ruled the charter school system unconstitutional.
6:51, we'll hear from the Old Farmer's Almanac now, and when we come back, we'll have some more stories about Spokane and an Idaho story. Also, Coast Guard officials are in the news again, and Hagen. We'll have those updates for you coming up right after this.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
The world's oldest tracked bird turned 64 this year, and she's about to become a mother for the 37th time. An update today on the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Thursday, March 10th, the 70th day of the year. Singer Carrie Underwood and actor Chuck Norris are sharing a birthday. Bird lovers will enjoy hearing that the world's oldest tracked bird has recently been spotted on American soil and is expected to soon be raising a new hatchling at the age of 65. The albatross, or goonie bird, was first tagged in 1956 on the Midway Atoll, northwest of Hawaii, and has been returning ever since. The tiny island, by the way, the site of a crucial World War II naval battle, has since become an idyllic natural refuge for all kinds of wildlife. It's the nesting site for nearly 2 million birds, as well as hundreds of dolphins, seals, and green turtles. That's the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. Learn more at almanac.com.
iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
.53 here, iFIBER ONE News Radio, and a good morning to you. Got a lot of rain, wind. I'm checking the passes.
Oh, because why are you checking the passes?
They'll be in tomorrow, so I'm going to head over to the head home offices in Ephrata.
Are you afraid?
I'm excited to go and see what happens over there. I've been over to the other side of the mountains in forever. I-90 looks clear, so that's good if you're heading this way in that.
Mm-hmm. Department of Ecology is having an open house with a public hearing on the Shelton C Street landfill March 30th. That's going to be at the Mason County PUD 3 Johns Prairie Road Operations Center. We have all that information on our local news, but this hearing is about the whole C Street landfill, how they're going to be cleaning it up, and you can go and you can comment. You can make a comment. You can also write in a comment. We have that information also on our website as they explore cleanup options.
Looking at other news stories from around the Northwest, we talked about this one. Here's an interesting story coming out of Pullman. A new report is critical of Wazoo's Bear Research Center in Pullman. Concerns about the well-being of Wazoo's grizzly population prompted the university to investigate the facility last fall. Moscow Pullman Daily News says the report found some issues with the facility and its euthanasia practices. The report found 2 grizzly cubs had to be killed in 2010 after they were placed in hibernation together in a culvert trap without an adult. But the bears did not go into hibernation, and the health ended up being deteriorated so severely that the bears had to be euthanized. Here's a weird story coming out of Olympia. Man who won 2 Emmys, like the awards, has worked with the police to recover one of them, which was taken from a storage unit. The Olympian reports the burglary reported on the 17th of February. Brett Hansen works for TVW, won 2 Emmys for 2 documentaries, says he decided to look for the statue on Craigslist after police told him getting it back was unlikely. Hansen says he found the Emmy online where sellers had listed it for $3,500. He alerted detectives who showed up to meet the sellers in Lacey. 3 folks arrived. So the first thing you're saying is, how often do you come across an Emmy award out of Lacey on Craigslist? And no, so you would assume it'd be somebody else's. These aren't the kind of places you sell these awards. The nameplate was gone. So Emilio was saying this morning, oh, they have their names. We just saw Leo's name get engraved into his Oscar. Where's the name? Name tag had been removed. The cops are pretty sure that it's this guy's Emmy. They'll have to keep the statue, though, until an investigation is complete. No arrests have been made.
That's interesting, because were they stolen from his house? Or where were they stolen?
It says a storage unit. And then the other question is, if you did win these Emmys, why are they in a storage unit? Why aren't you...
I do not know.
Why aren't they out on, like, the mantle?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. Why we have storage unit full of stuff that we don't seem to care about anymore.
That kind of it speaks to the whole award process, as a matter of fact. If a winner doesn't even...
Yeah, that's very true, very true.
I don't know the mindset. Whatever. This is just me.
Because you've never won one.
Because I've never won an Emmy for anything.
You could create
I've never won anything for anything.
Oh well, speaking of people that haven't won anything.
Yeah, maybe I have won something.
Maybe you haven't anything. But see, the Washington State Lottery says somebody in Seattle won 157 million Mega Millions jackpot. It was on Tuesday night drawing with it was the Mega Millions, so you get that little Mega Ball extra deal. It was at a 7-Eleven convenience store in West Seattle. The winner hasn't come forward. The Washington Lottery advises players to sign the back of their winning tickets, so in case it gets stolen, I guess, and to contact officials for more information on validating and claiming the prize. Jackpot's over 100 million. Must be claimed at lottery headquarters in Olympia.
I just haven't had the time to go down there.
To go claim your prize?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, when you don't show up Monday after this vacation.
Yeah, that's right there. See? Vacate business trip.
Right.
See? Right. CNBC Radio Report right now. Good morning.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
CNBC Radio. Stocks are higher after the European Central Bank unexpectedly dropped its interest rate 0.25% to 0. Mario Draghi, the ECB's head, said European inflation is still weaker than expected, and like the Federal Reserve here, Europe wants to see that inflation rate hit 2% or higher. European markets jumped, and so did ours when it's opened, and now the Dow is up 73, the Nasdaq's up 29, and the S&P 500's up 9. Crude oil prices are lower. Party City missed quarterly forecasts with both earnings and revenue, but shares are up 14%. Dollar General did better, besting expectations. Its shares are at a 9-month high, up 7%, but Square is down 2%. Although the mobile payment company did beat revenue forecasts in its first quarterly report since it went public. Yahoo will be live streaming 4 National Hockey League games a week. Stephanie Shelton, CNBC.
Dentist office, may I help you?
Hi, I'd like to cancel my teeth whitening appointment.
Oh, may I ask why?
I found a teeth whitener that works in 5 minutes that I can do from home.
Can I ask what it is?
It's called Power Swabs, and it whitens your teeth in 5 minutes, doesn't leave my teeth feeling sensitive, and it's a lot less expensive than visiting the dentist.
Hi, I'm John Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs. And if you want to whiten your teeth on average 2 shades in 5 minutes and 6 shades in 7 days, then try Power Swabs. There's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth and you're done. It removes stains on natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. Try Power Swabs risk-free by calling 1-800-204-1201. That's 1-800-204-1201. I guarantee your friends and coworkers will be wowed by your new white smile. Try it risk-free and get free shipping and handling today. Dial 1-800-204-1201. That's 1-800-204-1201.
Alex Jones and InfoWars on from 6 to 9 weekdays on iFIBER ONE Newsradio, AM 1030 and FM 103.3 KMAF Shelton.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Karen Chase. President Obama just welcomed Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in formal White House ceremonies. Trudeau talked of the bond between the two nations.
And on behalf of 36 million Canadians, I thank you all for your warm welcome. Now let's get to work on shaping our shared future.
It is the first state visit by a Canadian leader in 20 years. The Democrats dropped the gloves at last night's presidential debate in Miami, trading sharp barbs on immigration and Wall Street. ABC's Aaron Katersky is in Miami, where tonight the Republicans take their turn.
In front of a hometown audience at the University of Miami, Marco Rubio is out to show viability after getting shut out of delegates in this week's voting. Rubio has said attacking Donald Trump's hands in the last debate embarrassed his kids, and he wouldn't do it again. Trump has said he's looking to knock his rivals from the race next week with wins in this state and in Ohio. The debate is a chance to make up ground with the 67% of Republican voters who view Trump unfavorably.
If you're 17 now but will be 18 by the November presidential election, should you be allowed to vote in Tuesday's primaries? That's the question before an Ohio judge today. State elections officials have said they shouldn't be able to. A brawl broke out among 5 women on a Spirit Airlines flight at 30,000 feet. ABC's Jim Ryan has details.
It's thought to have started when 2 intoxicated women on the flight from Baltimore to Los Angeles were blasting music. When other passengers complained, they held their boombox over their heads and asked, "What are you going to do about it?" Several other women rushed them, and there was a fight. Los Angeles police and the FBI met the Spirit Airlines flight on the ground. 5 women were taken off, but no one has been charged.
Your bottled beer may contain broken glass. The makers of Corona are recalling bottles of beer included in the extra 12 and 18 packs that may contain shards of glass. Taco Bell is now taking orders from its dollar menu. Starting today, it's offering 10 items for $1 each, including a breakfast taco. This is ABC News.
ABC Radio presents Made in America with David Muir. Brought to you by Advance Auto Parts Speedworks Rewards. No cards, no points, no nonsense. Details at advanceautoparts.com.
Tabasco. It's the red and green bottle, a staple in grocery stores, made on Avery Island, Louisiana. Produced for almost 150 years.
The same day the peppers are picked, they are ground into mash.
From there, it's right into places like New York's Blue Smoke Restaurant, a key ingredient in Chef Jean-Paul Bourgeot's hot wings. They're perfect. This is World News Tonight's David Muir. That's Made in America.
This is Lori Grenier. You've seen me on Shark Tank hearing pitches from small businesses. Now, there is a new way for small businesses to get a loan in minutes. It's called Cabbage. That's Cabbage with a K. Just fill out the application online. You'll get an instant decision and could have access to a line of credit of up to $100,000. No waiting, no hassle. Cabbage is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and is a Forbes Top 100 company. Go to Kabbage.com, that's Cabbage with a K, Kabbage, or call 888-CABBAGE.
The trial continues in Florida today in Hulk Hogan's $100 million lawsuit against Gawker over an intimate videotape. ABC's Lindsay Janis has the latest.
Hulk Hogan's lawyers played taped depositions with Gawker's editors for the jury. One of those depositions was AJ Delario. He was the editor-in-chief of Gawker.com. He's the guy that received this sex tape anonymously and said he couldn't wait to put it online. It amused him. He found it enjoying. The lawyer is asking him if he bothered to call Hulk Hogan or Heather Clem, who were in the video, to find out if they knew about it. Asked him if he cared whether this was going to cause distress or not to Hulk Hogan. He said no, he didn't. Lindsay Janis, ABC News, St. Petersburg, Florida.
Of the 8,700 complaints officials got last year about noise from Reagan Airport in suburban D.C., 6,500 of them came from the same person. That's the equivalent of 18 calls a day. The Washington Post says airport officials won't name the complainer. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news brought to you by the Lucky Eagle Casino. Visit online at luckyeagle.com.
From the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, I'm Mary Lynn Foster. A reminder that BPA has scheduled an outage for system maintenance tonight at 11:59 p.m. until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. The outage will affect the following PUD1 areas: Schoolhouse Hill Road in Hoodsport, onward north to just above Colony Surf, Highway 119, Lake Cushman Road, downtown Union area to the end of PUD1 service line on Highway 106, and Alderbrook and McCreevy Road areas. While BPA is having their outage, PUD1's crews will work on system maintenance as well as what needs to be completed while power is down. PUD1 says that coordinating with BPA prevents the need for additional outages for these maintenance items. The Mason County Sheriff's Office has found a 14-year-old girl who disappeared on Tuesday from her home east of Shelton. The Sheriff's Office tells us Mackenzie Cunningham was found and is safe. No other information was available. The Sheriff's Office thanks those who assisted in locating Mackenzie. Governor Inslee has said he would block legislation approved by the legislature if an agreement on a 2016 supplemental budget isn't reached soon. 35th District Representative Drew McEwen called into Daybreak to comment on that threat.
Well, frankly, I mean, the governor has shown a complete lack of leadership this session. I haven't even seen him, which is unusual during session. He has been largely absent. His style in the handful of negotiation meetings that he's been to, which is oftentimes with just our leadership from the various caucuses, and so I haven't been in those. But he's been very abrupt, and it's ironic. I think the governor forgot when he made that statement which Washington he's in. Under our state constitution, the governor does not have a pocket veto, and so the way it works in our state, if the governor doesn't sign the bill, it becomes law. He has to take proactive action in order to veto a law, and he thought it was the other way around.
The legislative session will end at midnight tonight. The governor's office says a special session will be called to convene tomorrow if tonight's deadline isn't met. Taylor Shellfish Farms is the first U.S. grower to achieve responsible aquaculture certification for a farming operation in Washington state. Taylor received Aquaculture Stewardship Council bivalve certification for its operation in the South Puget Sound Basin, which includes the Hood Canal and the area south of the Tacoma Narrows, Olympia, and Shelton. Bill Taylor, Taylor Shellfish Chief Executive Officer, said the company is dedicated to providing customers with the freshest, highest quality shellfish available and doing so in ways that respect the environment, their communities, and the people who work for them. For iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Mary Lynn Foster.
The Tom Hartman Show, live 9 to noon, weekdays on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
Eventually, something is going to break through all the lies and all the hundreds of millions of dollars that Koch Industries and ExxonMobil and others have spent funding climate change deniers. Eventually, it's going to break through, and people are going to realize that for the last 40 years, they have been lied to by very wealthy people who are lying to us and allowing people to die just so they can protect their wealth. Not even protect their existing wealth, just so they can make more wealth.
Wonder what the outrageously energizing experience of Mountain Dew Kickstart is like? Well, it's like a combo of 3 awesome things. Dew, juice, and caffeine rebooting your entire personal operating system.
Mountain Dew Kickstart is in position for consumption. Release the Mountain Dew Kickstart. Mountain Dew Kickstart released. Experiencing a charge of Mountain Dew Kickstart now.
Mountain Dew Kickstart operation successful. Roger that. Get charged up with Mountain Dew Kickstart. Now in 4 energizing new flavors like Midnight Grape. It all starts with a kick.
Now, from the all-new Gillis Auto Center Sports Desk, here's Jeff Slakey.
.708 at iFIBER One News Radio, and a good morning to you. I'm Jeff Slakey along with Carol Gardner checking sports and weather from around the area. Big power outage in Shelton last night, getting us back online just before the Daybreak program began at 6. So thank you to the PUD3 crews who were out fixing the tree on the power line, and a big thanks to the Central Mason Fire and EMS folks who came over to help us figure out what was wrong with our generator, try to get that going. Right as we were coming to the finality of that, the power came back on, as Murphy's Law always entails. So we're back and going, and it is 7:09 here at iFIBER One News Radio, and we're looking at some sports notes. Last night was Community Pride Night here in Shelton, and a lot of folks were celebrating the spring sports. Our own sports director, Sean Wells, will be on in an hour to talk about the turnout last night, and a video that he has produced featuring the Shelton soccer team. You can find that story right on the front page of iFIBER One Newsradio.com. Gonzaga Bulldogs will be heading into the NCAA tournament as WCC victors. There are other tournaments ongoing throughout. Yesterday, Colorado beat Washington State 80-56, and Washington beat Stanford 91-68. Both those games in the opening matches of the Pac-12 tournament. Washington entered the Pac-12 tournament hoping to boost a slim chance to get into the tournament. They are looking to win this Pac-12 tournament, as they all are, to make it into the NCAA. Oakland Raiders have filled another hole in free agency by agreeing to a 4-year contract with former Seattle pass rusher Bruce Irving. Person with knowledge of the deal says Irving will sign a contract worth a reported $39 million. Person spoke on condition of anonymity. The contract had not been signed at press time. 7:10 here at iFIBER One News Radio, and moving on to the South Sound forecast. Here's Carol.
Good morning. It's rainy in the South Sound. It's going to be tapering off throughout by this afternoon. Tomorrow, overcast. And for the extended forecast, check out iFIBER1newsradio.com. Right now in Shelton, it looks like it's about 49. And there are patches of rain floating through, but I'm, of course, following the Twitter, and one of the highest gusts of winds was Destruction Island at 77 miles per hour.
Whoa.
And right now it's still going pretty good. Tacoma's 43, and Olympia, they just recorded at 36 miles per hour. So
another note on Olympia, there is high tide happening now, and that could result in water on downtown Olympia streets until about 8 o'clock. And the areas affected could be, 4th, 5th State Avenues between Columbia Street and the 4th Avenue Bridge, kind of there near the Bayview Thriftway, and Columbia Street between B and Corky Avenues and Thirst. So just be advised, if you're heading into the downtown area, getting ready to drive downtown, there could be a fair amount of water on the roadways there.
True. Plus, watch out for the Washington Emergency Management says there are still some down power lines about. So watch out for those also.
No local school outages to pass along, although school districts that are part of Mason County include Bainbridge Island and North Kitsap. The Suquamish and Vineland Elementary has a 2-hour delay and no morning preschool, and that was just posted this morning. And Bainbridge Island School District is closed as well. Other than that, you can find the full list at iFIBER1newsradio.com. 7:12 right now. We've got tax tips coming up. We're going to talk about the crab, clam, and spaghetti dinner that's coming up here. Mike Callahan is out in the lobby, and I believe I saw Pioneer School District Superintendent Marty Brewer out there as well. We'll get those guys back in a few moments to talk about that upcoming event. There's an auction going on with that. And always a good time to help out the kids. 7:13 here at iFIBER One.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One Newsradio.
Are you prepared to pay your capital gains? I'm ABC's Chief Business and Economics Correspondent Rebecca Jarvis with today's tax tip. 2014 was a record-breaking year for U.S. stock markets. Investors who cashed in on all the good times will likely be paying taxes on those gains. Kiplinger's Kevin McCormley.
The top tax rate on capital gains is 23%.
But there are ways around paying the price. H&R Block's Kathy Pickering says if you thought ahead, you sold some of your losers before the year ended.
If you had some gains and then you could also sell some stocks at a loss to offset that, that's a great strategy.
Gift wrapping your gains may be a better bet, says Tom Wheelwright, founder of CPA firm Provision.
If you give stock, instead of having to pick up the gain and then get a deduction, you don't have to pick up a gain, but you get a deduction for the full value of the stock. So you're not picking up gain and getting a deduction, so you get a double benefit.
With today's tax tip, Rebecca Jarvis, ABC News.
If your saving for a retirement strategy involves the phrase, "I'll get around to it someday," we need to talk. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor, Karen Shade. When it comes to meeting your goals, time can be on your side, and there's no better time than now to get started toward your retirement goals. Stop by my office at 1051 Southeast State Route 3, Shelton.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC.
If you care about what's going on around here, subscribe to the Shelton Mason County Journal. You will learn something useful about your neighborhood, upcoming events, your community, and coworkers. Laugh at the comics, cry with the obituaries, learn about local concerts, games, and new businesses. Being informed is worth it in so many ways. Subscribe today. Call 360-426-4412 or visit masoncounty.com. Check out the Journal's garage sales, too. Try it. You'll love it.
The Tom Hartman Show, live 9 to noon, weekdays on iFIBER One News Radio.
If you're afraid of school shootings, fine. Put him near the outer perimeter of the school. Put him in front of the school. Build a little guardhouse or something. Stick him in it. But a cop to deal with discipline problems? It's turning a school into a prison. It's teaching kids how to be afraid of authority figures. It's teaching them, oh, yes, officer, no, officer. Oh, please don't beat the crap out of her. Oh, wow, look at him beat the crap out of her. This is so wrong.
iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
$7:16 at iFIBER One News Radio. It's Daybreak on a Thursday morning, the 10th of March. Coming up soon is the annual Pioneer Crab, clam, and spaghetti dinner. A delicious time had by all, to be sure. Mike Callahan is in studio along with the Pioneer School District Superintendent Marty Brewer. Good morning, guys.
Morning, Jeff.
Morning, Jeff.
Carol.
How you doing? Yes, thanks for coming in this morning. We weren't entirely sure. Had a little bit of a power outage around here, and it affects people certain ways. Not sure how it works, but good to see you guys.
Harstead Island is full power.
Full power on Harstead.
And Pioneer School District up and running.
You guys are all good too?
Oh, yeah.
Good to know.
I will say, coming across the bridge, I felt like I was going across a floating bridge. I mean, the tide was so high. It was amazing.
It is pretty high. I mean, they're talking maybe some flooding in Olympia because of it, and pretty interesting stuff. Wow. You guys have a big dinner coming up for party. It's put on by the Pioneer Kiwanis. It helps out the Pioneer School District and the kids there.
Almost all the proceeds from this dinner go back to the school, trying to help the kids there. And as Marty knows, it's been a very successful event over the years, and we hope to keep it a successful event.
Yeah, and the support we get from the Pioneer Kiwanis is phenomenal from the district standpoint. They support a lot of key programs, at-risk funds to climbing walls to, bike programs for students. So we really appreciate the support we get from Pioneer Kiwanis.
How long has it been a dinner that is this fundraiser? It's been going on for a while now.
It was I think I've been a member at least 15 years. I know it was started before I joined the Kiwanis Club. I know they used to have these big parties where they bring the crab back and they'd clean them, hands, split them apart. And fortunately now we get to Nelson Crab. They take care of most of that for us.
So Nelson Crab has the crab, and then the clams, where do those come from? Same?
Right now, most of the clams will come from Taylor Shellfish. We get them both. They're fresh. The crab from Nelson Crab we picked up on Friday, and it was caught, as we understand it, early that morning. They cook it, and they clean it and kind of crack the shells for us.
Oh, great.
We load it in the truck and bring it up and throw it in the freezer there at the school, and the next day it's on the table.
That's a pretty fancy dinner for a fundraiser. You know, you think about going and having crab at a fancy restaurant, where here we are celebrating the Pioneer Schools, and we're able to enjoy this.
Very much so. And the dinner itself, you know, the tickets are $30 for an adult, and really we get close to break even on the dinner portion of it. And so the auction is an important part of the process.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the things. There's a live and silent auction, right?
Correct. And we have a number of items. I just got a text from Daniel Frischman. He's the guy kind of in charge of our auction. He and Kenny and a couple other guys work on that.
Kenny Latimer is the auctioneer, and he does a great job for us.
But somehow Daniel has come up with shoes, tennis shoes. And apparently they're autographed shoes from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Whoa!
It says one shoe, though. I don't know.
Just one, huh?
But then he has something from Mats Wielander, Neil Lomax, and Bob Lanier.
Wow. So you guys get some big ticket items for this.
Well, this is the first year we've had anything quite like this.
That's pretty cool.
And it is very nice. We do have a lot, you know, we have some homemade quilts and some wood carvings and benches, and, you know, there's a lot of a selection. You know, for a small dinner, there's a lot of selection for the auction.
How many years have you guys been doing this?
Well, yeah, it's about, I'd say close to 20 years.
Close to 20 years.
Yeah.
All told, that's awesome.
Well before me.
What made you choose a dinner? And was it always crab, clam, or did it start with something different?
Well, I think it was always the crab. And then, of course, crab over the years has gotten more expensive. And that's why we had to raise the ticket price this year $5, because crab is very expensive this year. So then they felt like we could throw in some steamer clams, because they're right here on our beaches. And I even think one of the very first years, the guys might have dug their own clams and brought them, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But now we get them from, from Taylor, and they have over the years really supported the dinner. And then there are people out there who do not like seafood. I cannot believe that. So we do make spaghetti, and I have a hand in making the spaghetti, so I enjoy making that. And then we also have garlic bread. We have not a salad, but a coleslaw, I think. And then we have a dessert, 2 or 3 different cookie desserts and things, and then we have soft drinks, and so it's quite the spread.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So did you choose like a dinner? Was it always a dinner for a fundraiser, or was it an auction first, or did it sort of happen together?
I think they kind of flowed in. Yeah. I think first the dinner, and then, like Marty said earlier, we're only like at a break-even point.
Sure.
And so then the auction items came in, and we have the silent auction, and on that live auction, Marty and I aren't quilt guys, I don't think, but the ladies are very excited. This one quilt, one of our members' wives has made this beautiful quilt, and they've been online, checking the prices and things, and apparently these things are very expensive if you go out to buy them. And so we have this homemade, beautiful, it's probably 4 feet by 4 feet, if not bigger. And then we have a couple antique quilts. And so those are going to be in the live auction, as I understand it.
Very nice. Where can people get the tickets for this event?
Well, most of our members are carrying tickets at this point in time. So if you know a Kiwanis member, you can contact them. If you do not, the school, call 426-9115, extension 3. That's my administrative assistant, Lynn Chacos, and we'll set you up with tickets. The tickets are $30 for an adult. And the important piece there is we do purchase 225 crab for this event. And so pre-sales are really important because once we reach 225 at the door, we have to close the door. So, it's really important between now and next Friday. If you intend to attend and don't want to be turned away at the door like we almost had to last year, it's really important to give us a call or contact a member so that we can get you a ticket in advance.
So we got a week to call in, but if you're going, call now. And it is next Saturday?
Next Saturday, the 19th. And the times are from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And we have the live auction starting at 6 o'clock. During the dinner, we have the silent auction open. People can go around and then we kind of divide it into 2 or 3 different tables, and they close the silent auction periodically as we get near the end of the dinner time.
Saturday the 19th, 4 to 6 is the food and silent auction. 6 is the live auction. There is kind of a limit there of folks at about 225, so please book ahead of time. You can either talk to the members in good standing with the Pioneer Kiwanis or call the school district there. And it's at the school, right?
Correct. It's at Pioneer Primary.
How's everything going with the groundbreaking? It's been about a month, almost a month now, right?
Yeah, it's going well. Right now, the weather is creating a little bit of a challenge.
Sure.
We were going to get out and do some excavation work out to clear some land and install some septics, but now's not the time.
No.
So we're hoping the weather breaks in the next couple of weeks and we can get to work on that. The contract has gone, or excuse me, the general contract bid has gone out. It closes on April 5th, so we're hoping that we hire a good contractor to come in and do, the $20 million work between the primary school and middle school. So we're pretty excited. Yeah, we've worked really hard. I mean, the team has worked really hard in a matter of about 10 months, which usually takes anywhere from 12 to 15 months to design a building and permit it and do all the necessary steps to build a facility this size. So we've really pushed hard, and now we're hoping for the payoff.
Wow, that's awesome. Congratulations. Marty Brewer, the Pioneer School District Superintendent, Mike Callahan in from Pioneer Kiwanis talking about the crab, clam, and spaghetti dinner.
I have to throw in one more thing, or Kenny Latimer would kill me. They have gotten a 2-night stay at Great Wolf Lodge.
Whoa!
And that will be part of the live auction.
That will be a big draw.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, guys, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
7:25 here now at iFIBER ONE Newsradio. The morning news with Marilyn Foster's coming up in a little bit. We'll take a quick break and come back and look at some other things that are happening around the Northwest.
Listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio. Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is John Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs. And if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-928-7113. That's 1-800-928-7113. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends, family, and coworkers talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-928-7113. That's 1-800-928-7113. iFIBER ONE Newsradio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
morning to you. It is Daybreak at 7:27. Marilyn Foster has the latest in local news here in about 2 minutes. Crab clam, spaghetti dinner. That sounds good. Make sure you book ahead of time. You'd hate to be thinking about a nice crab clam spaghetti dinner all day. You head out to the Pioneer School and they say, sorry, fresh out.
No outdoor seating.
No outdoor seating. It's raining. So please call ahead of time. You can find the members. Pioneer Kiwanis have tickets, or you can call the school district on there. Looking at some more Twitter information for us this morning.
Yeah, I was looking at the north with Seattle weather is showing some high miles per hour for wind gusts, and Mission Ridge this morning 127 miles per hour peak gust. Can you believe that?
That's a lot.
That
100 and what?
27. It was clocked at 127.
So
Mission Ridge this morning.
Is just south of Wenatchee, between I-90, kind of between I-90 past the 97 there near Liberty, heading south of Leavenworth to catch up to Ellensburg. That's where that is.
So if you're traveling over the pass, well, it should be all calmed down by then.
It looks fine.
I would imagine.
It gets stuck over there.
And another warning from the DOT. If you come across signals that are out, remember, it becomes a four-way stop.
It sure does.
This morning, there was no lights on anywhere this morning as I blew into town.
I noticed that as well. I was, I knew that you have to treat it as a four-way if there's no power. I was a little surprised that there wasn't any blinking reds.
But there was no power, though.
There's no, even a 9-volt battery that...
Well, though, when I was coming down Highway 3, the signal that says there's a stoplight coming up or the light is red coming up, that was flashing. So obviously that has some power.
Is there.
And I'm like, oh yeah, there's no lights. And so there was nobody around.
Low voltage. You got to stop because you just never know who's out there. People walking in the middle of the night.
Exactly.
Shelton is a dark place when there's no lights.
I think most places are dark when there's no lights.
Very dark when there's no lights.
I think it's very dark, but
that's fine.
Rainbows will be coming out soon, I am sure, with the rain tapering off a little bit in the clouds, and it's daylight, which is so nice to have it daylight early these days.
You got that right. Marilyn Foster has the latest in local news. We'll check the traffic conditions of the Lake Cushman Golf Course. We had single lane alternating traffic earlier today because of a tree down. Also, some near the Mason Pierce County line.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
From the iFIBER ONE Newsradio studios, I'm Marilyn Foster. A reminder that BPA has scheduled an outage for system maintenance tonight at 11:59 p.m. until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. The outage will affect the following PUD1 areas: Schoolhouse Hill Road in Hoodsport, onward north to just above Colony Surf; Highway 119, Lake Cushman Road; downtown Union area to the end of PUD1 service line on Highway 106, and Alderbrook and McReevy Road areas. While BPA is having their outage, PUD1's crews will work on system maintenance as well as what needs to be completed while power is down. PUD1 says that coordinating with BPA prevents the need for additional outages for these maintenance items. The Mason County Sheriff's Office has found a 14-year-old girl who disappeared on Tuesday from her home east of Shelton. The Sheriff's Office tells us Mackenzie Cunningham was found and is safe. No other information was available. The Sheriff's Office thanks those who assisted in locating Mackenzie. Governor Inslee has said he would block legislation approved by the legislature if an agreement on a 2016 supplemental budget isn't reached soon. 35th District Representative Drew McEwen called into Daybreak to comment on that threat.
Well, frankly, the governor has shown a complete lack of leadership this session. I haven't even seen him, which is unusual during session. He has been largely absent. His style in the handful of negotiation meetings that he's been to, which is oftentimes with just our leadership from the various caucuses, and so I haven't been in those. But he's been very abrupt, and it's ironic. I think the governor forgot when he made that statement which Washington he's in. Under our state constitution, the governor does not have a pocket veto, and so the way it works in our state, if the governor doesn't sign the bill, it becomes law. he has to take proactive action in order to veto a law, and he thought it was the other way around.
The legislative session will end at midnight tonight. The governor's office says a special session will be called to convene tomorrow if tonight's deadline isn't met. Taylor Shellfish Farms is the first U.S. grower to achieve responsible aquaculture certification for a farming operation in Washington state. Taylor received Aquaculture Stewardship Council bivalve certification for its operation in the South Puget Sound Basin, which includes the Hood Canal and the area south of the Tacoma Narrows, Olympia, and Shelton. Bill Taylor, Taylor Shellfish Chief Executive Officer, said the company is dedicated to providing customers with the freshest, highest quality shellfish available and doing so in ways that respect the environment, their communities, and the people who work for them. For iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Mary Lynn Foster.
At Mason PUD3, we know that time changes all things, like phone numbers, mailing addresses, and email addresses, even names. PUD3 needs your correct account information for emergency contacts and online security. To make this fun, all PUD3 customers who update or confirm their account information by April 27th will have their names placed into a drawing for a free iPad mini. Go to masonpud3.org/account to learn more.
The calendar has moved to March. Weather is starting to get better. Days are getting longer. March 20th, the first day of spring. And with spring, attention turns to America's pastime, baseball. Seattle Mariners baseball. iFIBER One News Radio is your home for Seattle Mariners baseball all season long. You can listen on AM 1030 or FM 103.3. The South Sound home for Mariners baseball this season is iFIBER One News Radio, AM 1030 and FM 103.3.
Happy New Year for the NFL, that is. I'm Dave Packer reporting on sports. The NFL's new league year begins at 4 p.m. Eastern today, and with that new year, many free agents will be able to make their new contracts official. But one move that will also become official this afternoon, the retirement of Lions wide receiver Calvin Johnson, who filed his paperwork with the league on Tuesday. While Johnson's talent was without question, ESPN's Michael Rothstein points out the one thing Johnson's resume lacks.
Personally, he did everything he possibly could on an individual level. Team-wise, however, he never quite got that satisfaction that he wanted. He always said he wanted to win with the Lions, and it just never happened.
More tickets being punched to the NCAA tournament on Tuesday. Green Bay ends a 20-year tourney drought after winning the Horizon League title. Gonzaga, Fairleigh Dickinson, and South Dakota State will also be dancing later this month. The San Antonio Spurs haven't lost consecutive games all season, but that mark was in jeopardy Tuesday night against Minnesota.
Aldridge in the paint. LaMarcus Runner with the left hand off the back of the rim and good for LaMarcus Aldridge. He's got 23, and the Spurs have the biggest lead.
On WOAI, as the Spurs overwhelmed the Timberwolves 116-91. LaMarcus Aldridge finished with 29 points in just 29 minutes. Elsewhere, Damian Lillard came up big for the Blazers in overtime.
Lillard now dribbles left, comes back right, across the foul line, puts the shot up, banks it in! Time on Washington!
On KPOJ, as Portland got past Washington 116-109. On the ice, the Bruins had their eye on first place in the Atlantic Division.
Bergeron right away, feeds it out in front, score! Brad Marchand tips it in, 10 seconds into overtime to give the Bruins a tie for first place.
On 98.5, the Sports Hub, as the 1-0 win in overtime over Tampa Bay moves Boston into a tie for first with the Lightning. Both teams have 83 points. Dave Packer, ABC Sports.
Now, from the all-new Gillis Auto Center Sports Desk, here's Jeff Slakey.
Well, good morning to you. It is Daybreak at iFIBER One. I'm Jeff Slakey, 7:37 here on a Thursday morning. It's the 10th of March. Things getting back to order here. And as Carol and I get to the downtown area, Jerry shows up. We're all here, and there's Sans Power. The PUD3 crew's working very hard during the overnight to get us back up and running just before the show got started at 6. So big thanks to all of them. Looking at some sports notes, Bruce Irving is going down to Oakland to play with the Raiders. Quite a few moves happening with the Seattle Seahawks today as free agency kind of starts to rear its head. The Seahawks have tendered contracts to 8 restrictive and 8 and exclusive rights free agents. Some of those folks, Christian Michael, Alvin Bailey, Derek Coleman. As I mentioned, Seattle pass rusher Bruce Irving is signed with the Raiders. They say the deal is worth a reported $39 million. Not signed yet, so got to be quiet about it until it does. In the Pac-12, well, condition of anonymity. I don't ever know who these people are. They always find them, though. King George scored 17 of his 21 points, helping Colorado run away from Washington State 80-56 in the opening round of the Pac-12 tournament. For the Huskies, they routed Stanford 91-68 in their opening game of the Pac-12 tournament. This Sunday is Selection Sunday, which means we'll find out who Gonzaga will play in the first round of the NCAA tournament. It is 7:38 right now, and as we move on to the South Sounds weather forecast, here's Carol Gardner.
Good morning. It's rain on and off today in the South Sound area, tapering off this evening. Tomorrow will be overcast, and check out our extended forecast on iFIBER Newsradio.com. Right now, it's about 49 in Shelton, and I do see patchy bits of rain all around the area. We did have a ton of wind that people have been reporting, like Arlington 53, Painfield 51. I don't have any right here in the Shelton area. Marysville 32, but it was enough to knock a tree down earlier, and we had the power outage, as Jeff was mentioning earlier. And right now it's 49.
Now, from the iFIBER ONE Newsradio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You, from business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor. Your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
Good morning to you. It is Thursday, the 10th. We have a GOP debate on the air for you tonight. We have teamed up with the Salem Radio Network and CNN to bring you the next GOP debate coming to you from Miami. Our coverage starts at 3, and I'm thinking about 5:30 or so is when things will get underway down in Miami. 7:40 here at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Hillary's coming to town. Hillary's going to be at least in Seattle. Carol, I don't know if you saw that in the AP News today. She'll be making time here in the great state before the Democratic caucuses. The Times is reporting the fundraiser set for March 22nd at a yet-to-be-disclosed location in Medina. Some high home prices in Medina. We'll just leave it at that. Clinton campaign spokeswoman Stephanie Formas says public events could be added to the schedule in the coming weeks. She has yet to campaign publicly here in the state of Washington. The state's March 26th caucus will determine which candidates win the bulk of the state's 118 delegates to this summer's DNC convention in Philly. Party will formally nominate its candidate. We are down to 2. It's Hillary and Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, likely to also visit Washington in the coming weeks. They were also having a debate in Miami last night.
An Olympia man who won 2 Emmys was working with police to recover one of his award statues. He says was taken from a storage unit. The Olympian reported the burglary was reported on February 17th. Brett Hansen, who works for TVW and won 2 Emmys for 2 documentaries, says he decided to look for the statues on Craigslist because the police told him, you're probably not going to find your Emmy.
I'd go to Craigslist. It's so difficult to go to every pawn shop in town. I guess you could call them, but Craigslist is so much easier.
The thing that cracks me up is this person, allegedly this suspect, stole some Emmys in a localized area, and then he locally posts them on Craigslist. I mean, hello.
So you're thinking
do you think that somebody would not notice and put 2 and 2 together?
So he should have said that I'm out of Tacoma or Seattle or something,
or posted them in a different state. You can do that, can't you?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, why would you? I mean, it's just sort of like stealing something and then walking down the block and then putting them up for sale.
Take something out of one store, going to the next store.
Yeah.
Hey, I got this for sale.
Yeah.
Well, smart criminals is an oxymoron. It's not a thing, I don't think. Dumb criminals, that is a thing. This is not a thing.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Taylor Shellfish is a proud sponsor of the Environmentally Sound program. For 5 generations, the Taylor family's been stewards of a healthy and prosperous Puget Sound. In partnership with nature, Taylor Shellfish brings you the freshest, most sustainable shellfish you'll ever eat. Visit their store at 136 Southeast Lynch Road. Open daily from 10 to 6, and they're online at TaylorShellfishFarms.com.
Mason County Garbage and Recycling on Johns Prairie here in Shelton is pleased to offer safe and efficient removal services. Mason County Garbage and Recycling is always mindful of environmental standards and is continuously striving for the highest excellence. Mason County Garbage and Recycling, upholding your trust within the community. Questions? Call 426-8729. In Belfair, 275-4590.
Get ready to rock out and sing your favorite songs karaoke style at Lucky Dog Casino. Every Saturday starting at 9 p.m., join us for free karaoke with a live band as your background music. Only at Lucky Dog Casino, located just south of Hoodsport. Get ready to rock out and sing your favorite songs karaoke style at Lucky Dog Casino. Every Saturday starting at 9 p.m., join us for free karaoke with a live band as your background music. Only at Lucky Dog Casino, located just south of Hoodsport.
Need a ride? Call 426-8294. Mason County Taxi, 426-8294. Anytime, anywhere. Call when you need a quick, affordable ride. 426-TAXI, 426-8294.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I volunteer with United Way to help the homeless in my community learn computer skills and build a basic resume. I don't just wear this shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
7:45 here at iFIBER One News Radio. Good morning to you. It's Daybreak. I'm Jeff Slakey along with Gerald Garner. Hello.
Hello, Jeff Slakey. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great.
How are you?
I had a great night at Empty Bowls last night. Mm-hmm. I chose on the colors blue and yellow.
Well, okay, so you made the bowl.
Oh, that was last week.
Yeah, but what does it look like? I mean, how do you feel about it this year is what I guess I
feel great about it. I feel great. I feel
because you've just accepted.
No, I feel great because it stayed up. It did not fall over in transit. And I did not paint the inside of the bowl because, as I was alluding to last Thursday with Mark Ziegler from Shelton Parks and Rec when he was here on Focus on Shelton, that no matter how detailed and how much time you take to get in the nooks and crannies and paint the thing, you're always going to miss a little splotch. And so if you miss even a little splotch and any kind of liquid or water gets in there, it'll essentially rehydrate, in a very broad sense. It'll rehydrate the thing. So I've never put anything really in it. So I decided this year not to paint the inside of the bowl. Kept the base blue and the top part yellow. Saw a lot of fun spring colors that people were using. And these things are looking nice. People's bowls and trinkets that they were putting together look super cool. And again, it was packed. We were there right at 5.
So did you make a bowl or a mug type
No,
thing?
it is...
or like a vase for flowers or
I guess it's closest to a vase. It is a cylindrical... It's a cone. So the thought would be that you would put like popcorn in it. Like 3 pieces of popcorn.
3, that's how small it is.
Not all that could fit. But what a great time. Kaiser was painting big time, painting his hand thing. The Journal was there taking photos of people. So it was pretty cool. It was a cool night. Next week is the big night.
Right.
That's when everybody should come out,
reveal.
regardless of making the bowl, painting the bowl, whatever, because we're going to help raise funds for St. Pantry's Food Bank in town. And some of the local souperies and the local bakery around will be providing soups and bread. And it's going to be a delicious time next Wednesday from 5 to 7 at the Civic Center. 7:47 here at iFIBER ONE News Radio.
Washington, well, if you won the lottery, Jeff.
I'm not going to be here tomorrow, and it may or may not have anything to do with this next story.
Washington State Lottery says somebody in Seattle won 157 million mega bucks. The winning numbers for Tuesday were drawn, and it was won at a 7-Eleven convenience store in West Seattle. But the other part of the story is the convenience store didn't get any money.
Because it wasn't a certain threshold?
I am not quite sure. I don't know that backstory, but that's what I have heard also. So that is sort of, I always thought they won something.
They got it. I thought they got at least $1,000.
But somehow they don't get it. But the jackpot does reset at $15 million for the drawing tomorrow.
And the person has to come down here. I mean, the person.
The person.
Because if it's over a certain amount, jackpots over 100 million must be claimed at lottery headquarters in Olympia. So they'll have to come on down here to the great state capitol, and
you get a certain amount of days, and then you can't you sign like an anonymous thing that you don't want your name in the paper and all that jazz?
I think so, because you would see a lot more of these checks, I feel.
Yeah, I would do that. I would be more anonymous.
I would not tell you for sure.
Thank you for, being so nice.
I don't know.
As usual.
A new report is critical of Washington State University's Bear Research Center in Pullman. Concerns about the well-being of the grizzly population, kind of controlled by Wazoo, is prompting the university to investigate the facility last fall. Newspaper over there says the report found some issues with the facility and its euthanasia practices. The report found 2 grizzly cubs had to be killed back in 2010 after they were placed in hibernation together in a culvert trap without an adult. The bears, though, did not go into hibernation. Health deteriorated so bad that they had to be euthanized. The report also found 2 adult bears were killed in January to examine tissue samples. The report says the university needs a larger, updated bear facility and for better communication with the campus veterinarian.
A school district is among the targets of a lawsuit over an E. coli outbreak that's linked to kids that got sick when they attended a dairy festival field trip.
Oh, man.
The Seattle Times reports that families of 6 kids were sick after a Milk Makers Fest. Say the Linden School District, the Whatcom County Dairy Women, and the Northwest Washington Fair Association did not follow state and federal guidelines for infection prevention. I guess investigators found E. coli types linked to illness in samples from a barn where the animals were previously exhibited. 60 people were sickened, 11 were hospitalized. So the district sympathizes with the families, and there's been no other details on the story.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you know?
I know. So, yeah. I'm not sure how you know.
I remember going to a place as a kid. I can't remember the name, but it was like a old-timey farm that you go and you press cider or milk cows or things like that. And you got to know that these situations could happen on farms and things like that. It's just part of the deal.
Right. So I wonder, was it really bad? And maybe the barns was really yucky. I can see that would be a problem. But if it was just...
Maybe the milk missed one processing step. I understand. Why only 6 kids?
Yeah.
That's not many compared to how many probably went. 7:51 at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Find out what's going on in the world of politics when we come back from the break. 8 o'clock brings us ABC News. More on the way this morning. Sean Wells at 8:15 talking local sports.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
The world's oldest tracked bird turned 64 this year, and she's about to become a mother for the 37th time. An update today on the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Thursday, March 10th, the 70th day of the year. Singer Carrie Underwood and actor Chuck Norris are sharing a birthday. Bird lovers will enjoy hearing that the world's oldest tracked bird has recently been spotted on American soil and is expected to soon be raising a new hatchling at the age of 65. The albatross, or goonie bird, was first tagged in 1956 on the Midway Atoll, northwest of Hawaii, and has been returning ever since. The tiny island, by the way, the site of a crucial World War II naval battle, has since become an idyllic natural refuge for all kinds of wildlife. It's the nesting site for nearly 2 million birds, as well as hundreds of dolphins, seals, and green turtles. That's the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. Learn more at almanac.com.
iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
All right, good morning to you, 7:53 at iFIBER One News Radio. Debate last night in Miami for the Democrats. Scott Goldberg has information on what was talked about last night.
Your voice, your vote. Marco Rubio has said it all comes down to Florida. His home state primary is Tuesday. The polls say he's trailing Donald Trump by double digits. And the math tells yet another story. ABC News chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl.
If Marco Rubio wins the state of Florida, he needs to win 75% of the rest of the delegates to clinch before the convention in Cleveland. Ted Cruz is not expected to have a chance in either Florida or Ohio. He would need 68% of the delegates left. And if John Kasich can win his home state of Ohio, where he has banked everything, he would need to win 85% of the delegates to clinch before the convention. So it's quickly becoming almost a mathematical impossibility to beat Donald Trump.
Some numbers that could help Hillary Clinton in the Democratic race, where she's been, for the most part, aligning herself with President Obama. New polls say 50 or 51% of Americans approve of the job he's doing. Those are his highest numbers in nearly 3 years, and in line with where Ronald Reagan was at this point in his presidency. Scott Goldberg, ABC News.
7:55 here at iFIBER One News Radio. Again, a debate tonight on the radio. We'll have it covered starts at 3 with our partners of CNN and Salem Radio Network. 5:30 or so is when the debate will begin tonight. The other day when Trump, Saturday night, I think it was, they had another series of caucuses and wins and losses by the candidates, and Trump gets out there, and it's actually a pretty smart idea. So instead of going and having a victory speech at the end of the day where he has won presumably some of the states, where news outlets, although have by far given him way more coverage than anyone else, by saying, you know, if it's a victory speech, something like that, the likelihood of full coverage is not necessarily there. So what he's been doing, it's very smart, is he said, well, I'm having a news conference, a press, reporters can ask me questions at a press conference. So he did that again Saturday night, and Trump carted out a lot of Trump blank to show that he was a successful businessman. He had some of the wines that he did and the steaks, you know, because there's been a lot of talk of Trump steaks. Allegations of unfair labor practices now at Trump Modeling, one of several business ventures lost by the presidential frontrunner Donald Trump. ABC News investigative correspondent Brian Ross spoke with Alexia Palmer, who says the agency brought her to the U.S. from Jamaica under an immigration visa program.
Government documents filed by the Trump agency. It said Palmer would make at least $75,000 a year for 3 years as a full-time employee. But she got nothing close to that. According to a lawsuit she's now filed, the Trump agency deducted some 80% of her earnings as fees and expenses, leaving her with a total for 3 years of only $3,880, plus some modest cash advances. And under her visa status, she could not work anywhere else.
Interesting there. And I had heard that before. The worker visas, they are tied to a company, and those people are then essentially tied to that company. They can't go out and find anything else.
Right.
So they says that she was going to make 150 plus 75, whatever, $1,000 a year for 3 years, ended up with just $3,800. Interesting. That story, I'm sure, will continue to make noise and news as we continue on this up and down and crazy primary election season, and we'll be voting here before too long.
Only 9 more months.
All together, we'll all be voting together. Pretty cool stuff. 7:57 at iFIBER One News Radio, and a good morning to you. I'm Jeff Slickey, along with Carol Gardner, and looking at news notes from around the Northwest as major power outages across the state happened, and tens of thousands of people throughout the state were without power during the overnight, and there are some pretty big wind gusts as well. We saw Mission Ridge at over 150 miles an hour or so around here, gusts at 50 to 60 miles an hour at points, and this also caused the DOT to provide us with some status updates at 6:50 this morning. The last update for tree down on State Route 119, milepost 3 near Lake Cushman Golf Course, with traffic being reduced to 1 lane. Again, that was last updated by the DOT an hour ago. And then fully blocked at the Mason-Pierce County line on State Route 302 at milepost 5. That kind of got underway about 2:45 this morning and appears to be continuing. No traffic cameras in that vicinity for us to monitor the situation. But again, there is a lot of heavy winds and things going on that we're monitoring here. 7:58. That does it for this hour of Daybreak. We'll be back just after ABC News and Mary Lynn Foster at 8 o'clock. Sean Wells, sports director, coming in at 8:15. Check out his newest video previewing the Shelton soccer team on iFiber1newsradio.com.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFiber One News Radio.
Dave Ramsey helps you handle your money. Weekdays from noon to 3 on iFiber One News Radio, AM 1030, FM 1033, KMAS Shelton.
Hi, everyone. This is Mark Tobert, your advertising consultant from iFiber One News Radio. Are you missing customers because you only market to a specific group? iFiber One News Radio can help you hit a larger group of buyers with our diverse audience. We are 24 hours of local and national breaking news, award-winning talk radio, and primetime sports, including local high school sports. What does this mean to you? This means our listeners listen longer to entire programs and don't switch to another station when a commercial comes on. Our coverage in the Puget Sound area, it's over 500,000 listeners, including Mason County, Thurston County, Grace Harbor County, King, Pierce, Joint Base Lewis McCourt, and Kitsap County to the Bremerton Naval Base. All advertising is 100% tax deductible. So how can you afford not to advertise? Call me, Mark Tobert, at iFiber One News Radio to become a total audience plan advertiser. Just call 360-426-1030.
Mornings start with Daybreak on iFiber One News Radio. Join Jeff and Carol weekdays from 6 to 9 on AM 1030 and FM 1033, KMAS Shelton.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Karen Chase. With great pomp and pageantry, President Obama welcomed Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to the White House.
We haven't always conveyed how much we treasure our alliance and our ties with our Canadian friends. And that's why today we are very proud to welcome the first official visit by a Canadian Prime Minister in nearly 20 years.
The president thanked Canada for giving the U.S. so much, including the Stanley Cup. Trudeau pointed out that some of the champion Chicago Blackhawks are from Canada. Last night, the Democrats debated in Miami. Tonight, the Republicans rumble there. ABC's Aaron Katursky has a preview.
Ahead of the debate here in Miami, Donald Trump predicted a fantastic week and said he can knock Marco Rubio and John Kasich from the race with wins in their home states on Tuesday. Ted Cruz told an interviewer the reason Trump is doing well is because his voters are uninformed. In the last round of voting, exit polls showed Trump is vulnerable on honesty and trustworthiness, giving his opponents an opening in what may be the last Republican debate.
A backyard party in a working-class suburb of Pittsburgh dissolved into deadly gunfire last night when 2 armed men barged in and opened fire, killing 5 and wounding 3. The motive is unknown. The gunman remains on the loose. Maria Sharapova has apologized for failing a drug test, but ABC News contributor Christine Brennan says she's probably not off the hook.
I think she's going to be banned at least for 6 months, maybe up to 4 years. This is, with those emails, you have to read them. them. She was warned over and over again. They don't just drop this news on you on New Year's Eve, what's on the ban list.
So far, more than 3,000 people have streamed by the casket of former First Lady Nancy Reagan at the Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley, California. Some admired their political legacy. Others said it was their beautiful love story that was captivating. Dozens of flights were delayed at LaGuardia Airport in New York, one of the nation's busiest last night, by an 8-foot pothole. This is ABC News.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-613-4810. That's 1-800-613-4810. 1-800-613-4810. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health issuing company and other factors not available in all states.
More than 1 million Walmart employees are getting a pay hike. ABC's Ryan Burrows says they'll get their newer, bigger checks very soon.
It's part of Walmart's 2-year, $2.7 billion investment in workers. The pay raises started February 20th, but will be on this week's paychecks. Associates hired ahead of the new year will earn $10 an hour. Those already making $10 an hour will earn a little more. Critics say the higher wages are still below the average pay for retailers across the United States and comes as Walmart closes stores and cuts hours. Ryan Burrow, ABC News, Chicago.
The number of people applying for unemployment benefits dropped 18,000 last week to the lowest level since October. Analysts say it's a sign that employers are cutting fewer jobs and hiring at a steady pace. Yet another sign of strength in the job market after last week's government jobs report showing employers hired 242,000 new workers. Stocks started the day on a positive note, rising on the wings of surprisingly good earnings reports. Dollar General was up more than 7%. However, stocks have since dropped. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news brought to you by the Lucky Eagle Casino. Visit online at luckyeagle.com.
From the iFIBER ONE Newsradio studios, I'm Mary Lynn Foster. A reminder that BPA has scheduled an outage for system maintenance tonight at 11:59 p.m. until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. The outage will affect the following PUD1 areas: Schoolhouse Hill Road in Hoodsport, onward north to just above Colony Surf, Highway 119, Lake Cushman Road, downtown Union area to the end of PUD1 service line on Highway 106, and Alderbrook and McCreevy Road areas. While BPA is having their outage, PUD1's crews will work on system maintenance as well as what needs to be completed while power is down. PUD1 says that coordinating with BPA prevents the need for additional outages for these maintenance items. The Mason County Sheriff's Office has found a 14-year-old girl who disappeared on Tuesday from her home east of Shelton. The Sheriff's Office tells us Mackenzie Cunningham was found and is safe. No other information was available. The Sheriff's Office thanks those who assisted in locating Mackenzie. Governor Inslee has said he would block legislation approved by the legislature if an agreement on a 2016 supplemental budget isn't reached soon. 35th District Representative Drew McEwen called into Daybreak to comment on that threat.
Well, frankly, I mean, the governor has shown a complete lack of leadership this session. I haven't even seen him, which is unusual during session. He has been largely absent. His style in the handful of negotiation meetings that he's been to, which is oftentimes with just our leadership from the various caucuses, and so I haven't been in those. But he's been very abrupt, and it's ironic. I think the governor forgot when he made that statement which Washington he's in. Under our state constitution, the governor does not have a pocket veto, and so the way it works in our state, if the governor doesn't sign the bill, it becomes law. He has to take proactive action in order to veto a law, and he thought it was the other way around.
The legislative session will end at midnight tonight. The governor's office says a special session will be called to convene tomorrow if tonight's deadline isn't met. Taylor Shellfish Farms is the first U.S. grower to achieve responsible aquaculture certification for a farming operation in Washington state. Taylor received Aquaculture Stewardship Council bivalve certification for its operation in the South Puget Sound Basin, which includes the Hood Canal and the area south of the Tacoma Narrows, Olympia, and Shelton. Bill Taylor, Taylor Shellfish Chief Executive Officer, said the company is dedicated to providing customers with the freshest, highest quality shellfish available and doing so in ways that respect the environment, their communities, and the people who work for them. For iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Mary Lynn Foster.
The Dave Ramsey Show, where common sense meets dollars and cents.
Patrick in Texas says, my wife thinks we should have an emergency credit card. How can I explain to her that this is a terrible idea? Well, the last time on earth that you need to go into debt at 18% interest would be at a time when your family has an emergency. What you need is money. If you had $20,000 set aside for an emergency fund, you wouldn't need an emergency credit card, right?
The Dave Ramsey Show, weekdays from noon to 3 on iFIBER One News Radio.
Is your family doing some growing? Whether it's an expansion of your home or the addition of a new family car, Peninsula Credit Union can provide fast, friendly service with terrific rates. We offer personal lines of credit, affordable auto loans, and a variety of home loan options to get you moving. Visit our offices in Shelton, Belfair, Paulsbo, Port Orchard, and Port Townsend, or go online to pcfcu.org. At Peninsula Credit Union, our priority is you.
Now, from the all-new Gillis Auto Center Sports Desk, here's Jeff Slakey.
.808 at iFIBER One News Radio, and a good morning to you. Checking sports, I'm Jeff Slakey. Carol Gardner has a detailed forecast for us. Some new news in the Associated Press about that as well. We're looking on the iFIBER1NewsRadio.com website this morning, and under the sports tab, Sean Wells has put together a nice feature about the Shelton soccer team as spring sports gets underway. Last night was the Community Pride Night, and we're going to talk with Sean in about 8 minutes on sports. In sports, additionally, we've got more Seattle Mariners spring training baseball for you over the next couple of weeks. Tonight, though, we'll have a GOP debate on the radio. The Pac-12 tournament is happening right now, and there was a couple of winners, couple of losers. Washington State loses to Colorado yesterday, 80-56, and Washington routs Stanford 91-68. Bruce Irving of the Seahawks is now Bruce Irving of the Raiders. He has signed a 4-year contract, $39 million. He'll be down in Oakland. It's 8:09 here now at iFIBER One News Radio, and to check that South Sound forecast, here's Carol Gardner.
Good morning. Rain on and off today in the South Sound area. It's tapering off this evening. Tomorrow, overcast. Our extended forecast is on iFIBER1NewsRadio.com. Right now, it's about in the upper 40s in most of the South Sound region, with some rain patches floating through. And there's been a lot of winds throughout the day, power outages, and a high tide.
Yeah, and a high tide. Whoa.
Now, from the iFIBER One News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor, your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
All right, good morning to you. It's 8:10 here at iFIBER One News Radio and on iFIBER1NewsRadio.com. Right now, we are looking at a video produced by Jeff Chu yesterday about the Graduation Matters Shelton. Folks are practicing skits for part of the entertainment plan for the Graduation Matters block party that is coming up in May. You can see that story right on the front page of iFIBER1NewsRadio.com. Additionally, there is the other story under the news tab was that they found that missing girl from yesterday. We had an update from the sheriff's office that says they were able to take care of that. And also, March 30th is a date that folks around here need to remember.
Yeah, the Ecology is going to have an open house and a public hearing on the Shelton C Street landfill. So that's on March 30th. It's at the Mason County PUD, District 3, Johns Prairie Road Operations Center. It's going to be at 5:30. They're going to sort of have an open house. You can come in, see what information they're offering, and then you can comment. And Ecology will record these comments and put it into their report, because they're going to be working on a legal agreement that's going to require the city of Shelton to investigate the type and extent of contamination on that dump site.
Oh, wow. 8:12 here at iFiber One News Radio. When we come back, Sports Director Sean Wells will stop by and give us an update on the spring sports and Pride Night last night. Also, we'll kind of pick his brain to see where he thinks Gonzaga basketball will land in the NCAA tournament, with Selection Sunday coming up in just a few days. Also, we'll have a story about Hagen in talks to sell its 33 final stores to Albertsons, including their numero uno store up in Bellingham. It's all coming up next on Daybreak.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFiber One News Radio.
The ocean waves roll in, hypnotic, continuous, and perched high above rests the oldest family-owned resort on Washington's coast, Ocean Crest Resort. Picturesque, friendly, comfortable. Ocean Crest has served as the perfect ocean hideaway for over 60 years. With unsurpassed ocean views, warm fireplaces, full kitchens, swimming pool, hot tub, and spa, Ocean Crest Resort offers you total and unrivaled relaxation. Frommer's Guide reports you simply won't find a more spectacular setting anywhere on the Washington coast. And Ocean Crest's enchanting restaurant is listed as one of Washington's 13 ultimate restaurants you must visit before you die. See for yourself with our special 3-for-2 package. For a limited time, stay 2 nights and get a 3rd night free. Call 800-684-8439, 800-684-8439, or visit oceancrestresort.com. Ocean Crest Resort, making memories since 1953. In Mo Clips, overlooking the Pacific Ocean.
You know, there's nothing like the look and feel of a real newspaper. Award-winning writers and design, voted one of the best newspapers in Washington, the Mason County Journal has the news, opinion, and information you want. Full of colorful photos and great-looking ads, share it with family and friends. No electricity required. Look for us at over 80 locations throughout the county or visit masoncounty.com. The Mason County Journal, a big part of this wonderful place we call home.
Sometimes GPS lets you down. Always have a map handy in the glove box. And that's an easy thing to do with Mass Marketing Maps. These maps are free. Pick one up today at West Realty in Hoodsport, Mountain View Licensing on Wallace Neyland, at the Agate Store, and at iFiber One News Radio. So the next time technology lets you down, be prepared with a new map from Mass Marketing.
iFiber One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
All right, good morning to you. It's 8:15 at iFiber One News Radio, and Sports Director Sean Wells stops by for his weekly visit. Morning, sir.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Not bad, not bad.
Last night you were in town for Pride Night, Community Pride Night, Spring Pride, Spring Sports at the high school. What was going on?
Yeah, a fun night, Jeff. Just kind of introducing these spring sport teams. You know, we had boys soccer, boys baseball, girls fast pitch, golf, track and field, tennis. Kind of introduced all the players and coaches. A lot of great fan support throughout the community there last night. And kind of a cool thing happened. Shelton was awarded a Golden Super Bowl 50 football. And you get one of those if you have a player who went to your high school who has competed in a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And Shelton had one back in 1977. I hope I pronounced his last name right. Raul Aligre.
Mm-hmm.
He was an exchange student from Torreon, Mexico. He kicked field goals one year at Shelton High School. and he went on to play collegiately at University of Montana and then University of Texas. And he played in the NFL, won a Super Bowl as the place kicker for the New York Giants in 1986.
Wow.
Yeah, so kind of a cool, and he had a little video, a speech that was taped, and he thanked all the Shelton administrators and coaches he had throughout his time at Shelton High School, and his old football coach, Jack Stark, the one who got him to kick for the High Climbers back in '77, was in attendance. So he said a few words too. So it was a really cool event last night.
That is awesome. So every year you get a football, or it was because it was the 50th anniversary?
Exactly, the 50th anniversary, the big deal. So just kind of celebrating all the high schools that these football players came from. And,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool that they do that outreach the NFL does. Trickle down the line. So one of the sports you mentioned was soccer. This morning on iFIBER1Newsradio.com, the website, you've got a feature that you put together about the soccer team. What can you tell us about them?
He had a great chat with the soccer team the other day. They have new head coach Jason Smith. He's been with the program for 4 years or so. He was their JV coach, so he knows a lot of these players. He's been with them for 3-4 years, coaching them on JV and such. And he's got a lot of talented players. They're young. Only about 4 or 5 seniors, but a couple freshmen had the chance to start this year, which is always exciting. But they have a couple good returners too. Jose Flores is a junior, and he had 22 assists last year, led his team. And that's big time in high school. Also, co-captain Alex Ramundo plays center mid, just a great distributor, plays with a lot of high energy. So they get going next week, late next week, I think. Should be a fun season for the High Climbers soccer team.
Anything else I know you're going to be looking at a lot of the spring sports, but did you gather anything else that we can look forward to, keep our eyes on for the spring sports teams this year?
Well, we get going next week, early next week.
With actual games already?
Already, yeah, baseball and fast pitch. Yeah, it seems, usually it seemed like there was a break between winter sports and spring sports. Now it's just,
let's go.
Here we go. Yeah, so fun times are just around the corner.
Gonzaga basketball, we were kind of wondering if they were going to make it into the NCAA tournament. They have now for 19 years or something like that, and they come out victorious in the WCC on a game heard here Tuesday night against St. Mary's.
Yeah, a game that they had to win, Jeff, to make sure they advanced to the NCAA tournament. And they did that. They knocked off St. Mary's 85-75. They had lost to them twice in the conference play. So a big-time victory. Right now, the ESPN's Joe Lunardi, their bracketologist, has Gonzaga as an 11 seed. I can see him being placed as a 10 seed, maybe even a 9 seed, playing that 8-9 matchup, which would be nice for them. But really, it's up to the committee. They don't have a lot of big-time, if any, big-time non-conference victories. They play some tough teams, but they lost a lot of tough games. And then losing at home to St. Mary's is something that you usually don't see out of Gonzaga. They don't lose at home. So kind of a different season. They've had some tough luck with injuries, Karnowski going down, and their guard play's been up and down all year. But they're playing well and playing their best ball here as of late. So, who knows this year in the tournament? It's anyone's game. All these teams are so balanced, and there's not really one favorite, except I guess you could say Kansas right now is playing really great basketball. But anyone has a chance this year in the tourney.
Do you think the filming obviously has been done for a while, but HBO did this 5-part docu-series on Gonzaga basketball. You think that has anything to do with the impact of the focus of the players, or any way to explain just the different season that we've seen from Gonzaga basketball? Is there pressure there that the TV crew shows?
I'm sure they would say no, but I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
Playing with all this camera crew always filming your practices and your games, and I don't know if they're in team meetings. I haven't seen the show, but I'm sure they're in team meetings and such. So having that following you at all times, it's got to be a little, I guess you're just not used to it.
Right.
And, having that spotlight, having that national spotlight on you at all times. Yeah, I'm sure it's in the back of their heads, but but it also, maybe it motivates them, because this last week in the WCC tournament play, they turned that switch and they played some great team basketball. And, they were high energized. Coach Fee was jumping up and down on the sidelines. Bench players were jumping up and down. It was a fun team to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it goes both ways, but I'll have to give the show a watch and kind of see how the team's gelling with those cameras on them.
If St. Mary's, do you think St. Mary's is going to make it into the tournament? Because although they didn't win, they were the conference champion, the WCC. I believe they got first place at least, or tied for first with Gonzaga. Do they get an extra look for that? Or
That's a good question. I think they're in. I think their schedule, their wins, especially their road wins this year, were impressive. And if you watch them play, they're just a great basketball team. They're unselfish. They find the open player. They make that extra pass. They're a good team, and they're a fun team to watch too. They have 6 players from Australia, which St. Mary's has that connection somehow. But they're a fun team to watch, and I think with the wins they had, non-conference and in conference, beating Gonzaga on the road, and like you said, they tied for first in the WCC. I think they just make it in. Maybe a 10 seed, an 11 seed. They might play one of those playing games as a 12 seed, actually. But, a fun team to watch this year for sure.
All right. Well, we will follow Gonzaga basketball, as far as they go. They'll play at least one game in the tournament. Selection Sunday is this Sunday. And check out Sean Wells's video coverage of the Shelton soccer team for spring sports. Thank you much, sir. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for having me.
8:22 now at iFIBER ONE News Radio. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, get ready for the morning stock numbers from Karen Shade and Edward Jones, and Mary Lynn Foster has the news coming up in 7 minutes.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
Hi, this is Mark Hemstreet, owner of Shiloh Inns. Many of our Shiloh customers have been visiting our Shiloh locations for years. And here's an example of someone who wouldn't stay anywhere else.
Sometimes I go visit family, but most of the time I travel back and forth for business. And the best part is that I always travel with my dog Lucky, and he's welcome at any of the Shiloh Inns. I love their beds, beautiful rooms, really clean. The staff go out of their way to make me feel comfortable. Business area when I need it. Man, I'm telling you, at the end of the day, do I ever enjoy that pool and the spa? Plus, free breakfast. I love Shiloh Inns. It's everything I need.
We invite all of you to try Shiloh Inns the next time you're traveling for business or pleasure. Call 1-800-222-2244 or visit our website at shilohins.com. Shiloh Inns, affordable excellence. American family-owned and proud of it.
iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
Good morning to you. It's 8:25 on a Thursday, the 10th of March. Jeff Lakey, Carol Gardner. Hi, Carol.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you doing? I'm looking at some pictures on Twitter, because I do follow Twitter, and the Home Depot up in Bellingham.
Bellingham?
The whole front sheared off by winds.
Home Depot in Bellingham. Oh, I remember where that is.
That is just
off Meridian.
Look at that thing. I mean,
yeah, the front. What are they? That's not scaffolding, is it? But the front. The front facade.
Yeah, just torn off by the wind.
Wow. I was always impressed by the wind in Bellingham. There were days when it was hard to walk up the hill to school.
Mm-hmm.
Both ways uphill to school.
Yeah, you can tell Kaiser that later on.
I at least went uphill one way to school, and I remember days where the wind just whipped on through there, and it was so super duper windy. Man, my goodness, tell you what.
And also, just if you're heading over, if you have to go over the Hood Canal Bridge, just make sure that you find out if it's open. It was closed about 10 minutes ago with some high wind closing it. And we have a picture of that on Twitter also.
Okay.
So just check with DOT. I'll try to retweet that. And if we get that if it opens before we go off air, I will let you know.
Okay. I'm looking at the also on the DOT website to see if there's any updated information. 650 was the last update for the tree down on State Route 119, about 3 miles near the Lake Cushman Golf Course. 650 is when they updated this most recently. Traffic was reduced to 1 lane, so folks that were heading into town from the lake, problems there. And I am still not seeing any updated information on this State Route 302 milepost 5 Mason-Pierce County line, road fully blocked there. I don't know, maybe you can see if you can find some new information on that at 8:26 here at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Additionally, on the website this morning, we are seeing a story Jeff Chu put together about an upcoming presentation for Graduation Matters at Choice High School. The kids there were practicing skits as part of the entertainment plan for the Graduation Matters block party that's coming up in May. And the school district for Shelton is encouraging more students to earn their high school diplomas, as Graduation Matters, something we talk about with Dr. Alex Apostle frequently here. We've got the Focus on Shelton coming up in a few moments on iFIBER ONE News Radio. Tomorrow, great guests with Carol and Dale. Tomorrow, Carol, you're going to get an opportunity to talk with Republican gubernatorial candidate Bill Bryant. He recently was at a Reagan dinner, and we have worked out an interview time with him tomorrow at 7:15. So Bill Bryant will be on the radio with us.
He'll be calling in, or will he be here in person? Don't know, huh?
Not sure. At 7:45, Jerry Apple and Rachel will begin to talk about movie theater takeover at Shelton Cinemas. The SAD Club has taken over the movie theater. The third the Divergent series. Are you familiar with those books? It's a kid's...
And it's been movies.
It's a teen series,
Yeah.
the Divergent trilogy.
Young adult is what they call it these days.
I've watched the movies too, though,
Yeah.
so, I mean, it can't be that young. So they'll be talking about where they're taking over that theater. On the line from Edward Jones, let's say good morning.
Good morning.
That's where it should be. Uh-oh. All right, so maybe the phone system. Oh, I see what's going on. All right, we're going to take a quick break here as I get the phones set up for this interview with the stock numbers. With the power outage, we had a flip. Hold on 1 second. Alex Jones and InfoWars. Weeknights 6 to 9 on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
And with Google Analytics and with Facebook behind it, they all met the same place Bilderberg met a few years ago. They met there a few years before that. They're north of London. This has all been publicly released and funded the Arab Spring, where they get the students, everybody out the street. But then the radicals use that once they take over to coup d'etat the coup. And then now you have an Islamic State over Libya, over Saudi Arabia, which is already quarterbacking it, over Syria, over Egypt.
All right, we're back online here at 8:30 and on the phone from Edward Jones, Karen Shade. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy stormy Thursday.
Yeah, stormy Thursday indeed. How was the trek in here?
Well, you know what? I stayed in Shelton last night.
Oh, that was a smart idea.
Yes, but high tide, man. I'll tell you.
Yeah, we're seeing high reports of very high tide, and they're thinking of some flooding in the downtown part of Olympia, stuff like that.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's
That's kind of, okay.
For sure. What's going on with the morning stock numbers?
Well, U.S. stocks gave up early gains and now mostly lower in early trading. The euro swung sharply Thursday after the European Central Bank announced a series of fresh stimulus measures to boost sagging Eurozone inflation. In domestic economic news, filings for unemployment benefits fell last week to the lowest level in 5 months, as the number of firings remain consistent with the solid labor market. Bond prices are mostly lower to begin the day. So far this morning, the S&P 500, the best performing sector is healthcare, while the worst performing sector is energy. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 40 points at 16,960. The Standard & Poor's 500 index is up 1 point at 1,990, and the NASDAQ Composite Index is down 12 points at 4,662. This morning, volume on the New York Stock Exchange is high, with about 288 million shares being traded, and decliners are outnumbering advancers by roughly 5-2 margin. In the commodity markets, the spot price of gold is up $11.39 to $1,264.60. The spot price of silver is up 23 cents to $15.52, and crude oil prices are down 67 cents to $37.62. And the bond market's 30-year Treasury yield is currently 2.72%, and the 10-year Treasury yield is 1.94%. Stocks of local interest: Amazon is down $2.06. Costco is down $1.11. Boeing is down 94 cents. Starbucks is up 31 cents. Microsoft is down 94 cents. This is Karen Shade of Edward Jones, member SIPC, serving individual investors with personalized attention and long-term financial advice. I'm located at 1051 Southeast State Route 3 in Shelton. And if you'd like additional information, you can contact me at 426-4590, and daily commentary is also located on our website at edwardjones.com.
All right, Karen, have a good one.
You too, be safe.
Thank you, you too. 8:32 at iFIBER One News Radio, the latest in local news, brought to you right now by Fred Holmes Tree Service.
From the iFIBER One News Radio studios, I'm Mary Lynn Foster. A reminder that BPA has scheduled an outage for system maintenance tonight at 11:59 p.m. until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. The outage will affect the following PUD1 areas: Schoolhouse Hill Road in Hoodsport, onward north to just above Colony Surf; Highway 119, Lake Cushman Road; downtown Union area to the end of PUD1 service line on Highway 106, and Alderbrook and McReevy Road areas. While BPA is having their outage, PUD1's crews will work on system maintenance as well as what needs to be completed while power is down. PUD1 says that coordinating with BPA prevents the need for additional outages for these maintenance items. The Mason County Sheriff's Office has found a 14-year-old girl who disappeared on Tuesday from her home east of Shelton. The Sheriff's Office tells us Mackenzie Cunningham was found and is safe. No other information was available. The Sheriff's Office thanks those who assisted in locating Mackenzie. Governor Inslee has said he would block legislation approved by the legislature if an agreement on a 2016 supplemental budget isn't reached soon. 35th District Representative Drew McEwen called into Daybreak to comment on that threat.
Well, frankly, I mean, the governor has shown a complete lack of leadership this session. I haven't even seen him, which is unusual during session. He has been largely absent. His style in the handful of negotiation meetings that he's been to, which is oftentimes with just our leadership from the various caucuses, and so I haven't been in those. But he's been very abrupt, and it's ironic. I think the governor forgot when he made that statement which Washington he's in. Under our state constitution, the governor does not have a pocket veto, and so the way it works in our state, if the governor doesn't sign the bill, it becomes law. He has to take proactive action in order to veto a law, and he thought it was the other way around.
The legislative session will end at midnight tonight. The governor's office says a special session will be called to convene tomorrow if tonight's deadline isn't met. Taylor Shellfish Farms is the first U.S. grower to achieve responsible aquaculture certification for a farming operation in Washington state. Taylor received Aquaculture Stewardship Council bivalve certification for its operation in the South Puget Sound Basin, which includes the Hood Canal and the area south of the Tacoma Narrows, Olympia, and Shelton. Bill Taylor, Taylor Shellfish Chief Executive Officer, said the company is dedicated to providing customers with the freshest, highest quality shellfish available, and doing so in ways that respect the environment, their communities, and the people who work for them. For iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Mary Lynn Foster.
Hi, I'm Ken Slater, the Roof Doctor. If you're like me, your family's important, so make sure that they're well taken care of. One of the best ways to do that is to provide a safe and warm home to live in. For over 50 years, the Roof Doctor has been helping families stay safe and warm by building roofs that last for generations. Our teams have some of the most experienced roofers in the area, and we only use the highest quality materials to keep your family safe, warm, and dry. That's the Roof Doctor. Give us a call.
Happy New Year for the NFL, that is. I'm Dave Packer reporting on sports.
The NFL's new league year begins at 4 p.m. Eastern today, and with that new year, many free agents will be able to make their new contracts official. But one move that will also become official this afternoon, the retirement of Lions wide receiver Calvin Johnson, who filed his paperwork with the league on Tuesday. While Johnson's talent was without question, ESPN's Michael Rothstein points out the one thing Johnson's resume lacks.
Personally, he did everything he possibly could on an individual level. Team-wise, however, he never quite got that satisfaction that he wanted. He always said he wanted to win with the Lions, and it just never happened.
More tickets being punched to the NCAA tournament on Tuesday. Green Bay ends a 20-year tourney drought after winning the Horizon League title. Gonzaga, Fairleigh Dickinson, and South Dakota State will also be dancing later this month. The San Antonio Spurs haven't lost consecutive games all season, but that mark was in jeopardy Tuesday night against Minnesota.
Aldridge in the paint. LaMarcus runner with the left hand off the back of the rim and good for LaMarcus Aldridge. He's got 23, and the Spurs have the biggest lead.
On WOAI, as the Spurs overwhelmed the Timberwolves 116-91. LaMarcus Aldridge finished with 29 points in just 29 minutes. Elsewhere, Damian Lillard came up big for the Blazers in overtime.
Lillard now dribbles left, comes back right, across the foul line, puts the shot up, banks it in! Time out, Washington!
On KPOJ, as Portland got past Washington 116-109. On the ice, the Bruins had their eye on first place in the Atlantic Division.
Bergeron right away, feeds it out in front, score! Brad Marchand tips it in, 10 seconds into overtime to give the Bruins a tie for first place.
On 98.5, the Sports Hub, as the 1-0 win in overtime over Tampa Bay moves Boston into a tie for first with the Lightning. Both teams have 83 points. Dave Packer, ABC Sports.
Now, from the all-new Gillis Auto Center Sports Desk, here's Jeff Slakey.
8:38, good morning to you. Checking the sports, there are collegiate tournaments ongoing, getting us ready for the NCAA tournament. Gonzaga already sitting pretty. They'll be in. Depending on who they play, we'll find out Sunday for Selection Sunday. Colorado ran away from it against Washington State yesterday, 80-56 in the Pac-12 tournament. Washington, though, was able to pick off Stanford 91-68. Seahawks news, Oakland Raiders have filled another hole in free agency. They have agreed to a 4-year contract with former Seattle pass rusher Bruce Irving. Irving will sign the contract worth a reported $39 million. Person spoke on condition of anonymity because the contract has not yet been signed. We'll continue to follow along with Mariners baseball through spring training. And we've got tonight on iFIBER ONE News Radio, the next GOP debate from Miami. It gets our coverage underway at 3. We've teamed up again with CNN and the Salem Radio Network to bring you that coverage, and it'll be right here on iFIBER ONE News Radio, AM 1030 and FM 103.3. It's 8:39 now. Moving to the South Sounds forecast. Here's Carol Gardner.
Good morning. Rain on and off today in the South Sound area. We'll reach a high of about 50. Recorded yesterday, 2.8 inches of rain.
Whoa.
Yeah. Tomorrow, pretty much just overcast. And if you want the extended forecast, check out iFiber1newsradio.com. Right now, it's 49.
Now, from the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor, your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
8:39 at iFIBER ONE News Radio, and a big thanks to the PUD 3 crews working through the night to get the power back restored in the downtown area. It was a substation, tree line on the line between the Mountain View substation and the downtown substation. They were able to figure out where that problem was quickly, get it taken care of. Power returned to the downtown area around 6 o'clock this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Very windy, as some of the biggest gusts around the South Sound and the region.
Recorded at the Shelton Airport was 46 miles per hour, which is pretty good.
It's a pretty good clip, I tell you what.
Good.
Not as good as 100 and whatever at Mission Ridge.
Mission Ridge, yeah.
Impressive. Focus on Shelton is coming up next, and we're going to talk about the Historic Preservation Board with Eric Burke at 8:40 currently. The Focus on Shelton is brought to you by our community credit union.
listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Savor the savings. We're serving up a great deal at our community credit union. 1% cash back and no payments for 90 days. Do you have an auto, boat, RV, personal, or any other type of consumer loan? Get a taste of this. For a limited time, we'll treat you to 1% cash back instantly when you move your loan to our community credit union. Don't wait. Apply online at ourcu.com or visit a branch location in Shelton, Union, McCleary, Elma, Montesano, or Vashon.
This is Kathy. The best way to keep current on local news and issues is by subscribing to the Mason County Journal. The importance of subscribing to the paper hit home when the marijuana businesses started cropping up in local neighborhoods and people called the paper saying they hadn't heard about the zoning changes. I had to inform the callers that this issue had been discussed in the paper for many months, and the best way to know what was happening in their community was to read the local newspaper. As a result, many of them started up a subscription. Call 426-4412 or visit masoncounty.com to start your subscription today.
Say, what's for lunch? Breakfast. No, what's for lunch? Oh, yeah, breakfast. Breakfast for lunch? Yep. Then what's for dinner? Breakfast is. I thought you said breakfast was for lunch. Oh, I totally did. But now you're saying breakfast is for dinner. Oh, yeah, I am. So, wait, is lunch for breakfast? No, breakfast is for breakfast. With McDonald's all-day breakfast menu, which includes the Egg McMuffin, hot cakes, and hash browns, anytime is delicious breakfast time. Man, I'm heading to McDonald's. Have a good afternoon. Don't you mean good morning? I do now.
McDonald's all-day breakfast menu varies by location. Introducing McDonald's Signature Crafted Recipes. We're talking bold sandwiches featuring authentic ingredients.
What?
You know it, like the guacamole made with Haas avocados in the Pico guacamole recipe.
Wow.
Barbecue sauce made with Vidalia onions in the sweet barbecue bacon recipe.
Nice.
And bacon with maple seasoning in the maple bacon Dijon recipe.
Amazing.
Try them on chicken or beef.
I want to try them all.
It's a new way to enjoy McDonald's. Create your signature crafted sandwich today at participating McDonald's.
iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
Well, good morning to you. It's 8:43 at iFIBER One News Radio. I'm Jeff Lakey along with Carol Gardner. We take this time on Thursdays, Carol, to focus on Shelton. Brought to you by our Community Credit Union. And from the city of Shelton, Eric Burke is in the studio. Morning, Eric.
Good morning.
Good to see you again. Been a little while.
It has. It's probably been about a year or so.
Yeah, you may be right. We're going to talk about the Shelton Historic Preservation Board. And first off, what is the board and how does it preserve history around Shelton?
Okay. Right now, the board is established in the Shelton Municipal Codes as one of the boards that represents the city and works with the city, coordinates with the city. And in their means, they look at historic buildings, sites, the historic past of Shelton. Our board consists of, or can consist of, up to 7 members. They're appointed by the mayor, and they're elected by the city commission. Right now, we have 6 members. Our 6 members all live within the city. They're all dedicated, hardworking, and I'll tell you one thing, out of working for the city, I'm more, I can't believe that they work so hard as they do, because this is a voluntary group. They're not paid to show up, and I'll tell you, a lot of times historic boards across the nation kind of get the bad rap. You know, they're like, oh, there's that hysterical board again. Everybody wants to pick on us. So, but like I ended up saying is that we meet every Thursday, second Thursday every month at the Mason County Historical Society Museum, which is right here on West Railroad. We meet at 7 o'clock, and normally our meetings can actually go from 2 to 3 hours. But now you're probably wondering, what does the Shelton Historic Preservation Board actually do?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've been working for this board for, I'd say a little bit over 5-6 years. I donate my time. I go to these meetings. They're, after hours. What we end up doing is we set up an agenda. We have a whole variety of issues that we do take a look at. A lot of times people come into us and they want to place their house on a historic register. I mean, there are 3 historic registers. There's the Shelton Historic Register, which is local. They can also progress up to the state historic register, which actually requires an application with the state. And if it meets the criteria, it can actually be moved up to the federal historic register. And we do have some towns, we do have some buildings, not towns, but some buildings in the city that are on the federal historic registers right now.
What would be the reason to get a federal distinction? Something of national significance happened at one of these places? Or how is a piece of property put onto the board? Or what are the reasons behind that?
Okay, well, a lot of people want to go ahead and place their buildings on a historic register because what happens is that the building itself rarely loses any type of value. These homes are historic character. They're built by some renowned architect. The architect comes in, a lot of these architects come in from like Seattle. They're world renowned. They end up having a certain type of design pattern. They could be, Art Deco. They could be vernacular. They could be colonial. They could even be a type of a bungalow type of, you ever seen those houses, which are kind of like beach houses, but they're beautiful in their character because they got big wide porches in the front. So when you end up placing your house on the historic register, doesn't mean that you can't do any modifications to it. What we look at is that, say you want to come in and you want to do some changes to strictly the outside. Inside, you can do all you want. I mean, we're not into saying, hey, we want you to do this and want you to do that. No, we're not into that. What we're looking at out on the outside is we don't want you to end up putting like metal roofs on top of your building. We don't want you to be putting like aluminum silver window framing. Sorry, excuse me. This one going. So, when you come on in, what we have is a design review board.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you have like a checklist that you go down saying that you have to have this, this, and this on the house for it to even be considered to be on the register?
Well, no. What happens is that, say you come on in, you want to end up placing your house on a historic register. We have you fill out an application, and then that application gets given to me, and then I end up doing the background research on your house. It's put into what we call a staff report. And then that staff report goes to the Shelton Historic Preservation Board. They review it. They make comments. But of course, like I ended up saying, the people on our board right now are 6 members, and they have so much more historic knowledge than I do and experience. So they review it and say, oh, this sounds good. No, you need to add this, you need to change that. No, you need to delete this out of there. And once that gets done, they kind of do a motion to bring it before the city commission.
So to me, when you say historic preservation, something old. So it doesn't have to be a certain age for it to be on this historic preservation list.
Well, it has to be greater than 50 years old.
Oh, it does have to be greater than 50. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, but, of course, too, what the problem is, some of the buildings you're going to end up saying, well, I saw you knock down a building not too long ago, and I thought I thought its age was historic, that it was built in, say, the 1934s. Mm-hmm. But see, what happens is a lot of times when buildings are built, and a lot of the buildings were built basically in the 1930s. I mean, those are the ones that are in the downtown area. Okay. You drive through it. Right now, we have 2 local historic districts. So if you can go through those local historic districts, you get to see the type of houses that are out there. And, when you're driving across the United States, it's kind of unusual because most people, when they drive through little towns, they get to see those historic district markers or historic district homes. And it kind of piques your curiosity and saying, okay, I need to take a look and see, what they had here in their past. It just kind of makes you feel like you're closer to the towns that you drove through. Mm-hmm. Now, the same thing happens here. And what we want to end up doing is we want to make sure that those houses stay within that historic character. Now, the houses that I referred to that what did go through demolition were houses that were modified and changed so much that even the core of the building had got, I don't want to say that word, but they got changed so much that they lost their historic value.
Sure.
Right.
You know, their historic character. They lost their architectural feel to the house. I mean, we're here on the board. What our primary job is to preserve the historic buildings in the city, but also to establish districts. We also were big on regards to, if you end up driving through town, you see all of those neon signs.
Mm-hmm.
Our board members and our board worked to get those signs put on and up there. There's one guy in particular that's in business here that, you know, did most of the work, but the board worked with him.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. We also put in the new Welcome to Shelton sign, which is right down on 11th and Railroad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it has the railroad, which was a big part of this city.
You say there's 2 historic districts. Are they 2 just different locations or 2 separate types of historical districts?
No, they're 2 different locations.
Just different locations. Okay.
Yeah, and you know, and most of these houses got built about the same time frame. And it's kind of funny because if you go into any other large cities and stuff, they'll have pockets of historic, and they'll say, well, this is kind of like an older beachfront neighborhood, or this is a lakefront neighborhood, or this is what was done in the Art Deco times of the city.
Oh, I see.
But in here, our first one, which is North Sheltonville historic neighborhood, which is up there next to the library. It's all around there. There's some beautiful homes back off of those 2 streets up there, and they're gorgeous. It's only about 16 homes up there, but then you go back behind the post office, and you go all the way from the post office back all the way up through Alder Street. And then those homes were homes and businesses that were all part of the development of Shelton for the logging business. You know, Mark Reed started all of this with Simpson. So all of those homes back there, we wanted to preserve. So we established the local historic district. Now, all of those homes or businesses in those districts, if you want to do some outside changes to them, bring them into the board. The board will review it during a design review, and we'll make recommendations. We're not here to tell you, no, you can't do that. But we are here to say, oh, maybe you want to end up not using that type of material or that type of window. What we want to do is we want to stay consistent of when these houses were built, you know. So it looks like the house back in the 1930s or the back in the 1920s. So as you can tell, I'm pretty excited about the local historic district. These guys, they work so hard, and we get very little recognition. It's strictly a voluntary group, and their time on the board is 3 years. We have a 3-year term.
So there's 6 folks there now with the option. There's 1 available seat open.
Yes.
And again, you say it's appointed by the mayor. Does somebody just go talk to Mayor Krantz, or do they have
No, what we end up doing is we ask for a letter.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what, and what I'm asking for a letter is I'm not asking for a whole page letter. I mean, 3 or 4 lines would just be more than efficient. You can end up addressing it directly to the mayor and the city commissioners. And then the letter gets sent to me, and then I write up a briefing. And that briefing I present to the city commission, and then the city commission reviews that person as a likely candidate.
The Shelton Historic Preservation Board meets the 2nd Thursday of every month at 7 o'clock at the Mason County Historical Society Museum. It's 427 West Railroad Avenue. And we've been talking with Eric Burke, who works for the city as an associate planner, but also volunteers and donates his time to the board. Eric, it's good to see you. I like the passion regarding the houses, and it is fun to drive around and see some of the beautiful places around town. So thanks for coming in today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. 8:55 now. We'll take a quick break here from the Old Farmer's Almanac and get ready to wrap up the Thursday show here on Daybreak.
listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
The world's oldest tracked bird turned 64 this year, and she's about to become a mother for the 37th time. An update today on the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Thursday, March 10th, the 70th day of the year. Singer Carrie Underwood and actor Chuck Norris are sharing a birthday. Bird lovers will enjoy hearing that the world's oldest tracked bird has recently been spotted on American soil and is expected to soon be raising a new hatchling at the age of 65. The albatross, or goonie bird, was first tagged in 1956 on the Midway Atoll, northwest of Hawaii, and has been returning ever since. The tiny island, by the way, the site of a crucial World War II naval battle, has since become an idyllic natural refuge for all kinds of wildlife. It's the nesting site for nearly 2 million birds, as well as hundreds of dolphins, seals, and green turtles. That's the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. Learn more at almanac.com.
iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
It's 8:57 at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Got about 2 minutes left here in the show on this Thursday morning. Just like Carol Gardner coming on the air with you here. Fun to talk with Eric about those things. And I'm reminded of a friend of mine in high school. He lived in a house in the Capitol campus area, you know, one of those neighborhoods right there. All of those homes have those little circular plaques on them that say this was the blank home. And there's one right across the street from us here at the old Radio Ranch, the white building across from us. There's a plaque right on the front that talks about it being a JCPenney building. So you see and you read those, and then you got a little bit of knowledge. Oh yeah, that one, that's that. And you were telling us about a place that you went to as a kid. That
Oysterville in Long Beach.
Is that so? That was a neighborhood or something?
Yeah, neighborhood, and there were the old houses, and it just makes you. I don't know. It's fun. It makes you feel good. I don't know why. Exactly.
No, I got it. And you see these old houses, they look great still. And pretty cool stuff. 8:58 here at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Dale will be on the air with you guys tomorrow. And we'll have Bill Bryant, who's the Republican candidate for governor. I think I haven't heard of any other candidates. Now, I don't know if everybody's just kind of waiting for the session to end to find out. Bill announced a while ago that he would be running against current Governor Jay Inslee. So Bill Bryant's going to be on the radio tomorrow with us. Also, there is a Sad Club movie takeover at Shelton Cinemas. The third in the Divergent series is going to be out in theaters, and so they're taking over the movie theater. So they'll be in to talk about that, Jerry Apple and Rachel. Also, Dr. Alex Apostle tomorrow at 8:15. And Don Pinnell for Radio Real Estate. You guys are going to have another
busy day
chat there, to be sure. Do want to, again, thank the PUD3 crews working so hard throughout the overnight to get the power back restored to the Shelton area. About 2:30 is when things got knocked off, and about 6 or so was when we got things underway. And also to the guys from Central Mason Fire and EMS who came over early this morning to help us figure out our generator problems. We do thank you so much for that. Have a great day, everybody.